Erica Kirk was part of running an orphanage in Romania where children went missing. Enough children for Romania to permanently ban the orphanage and permanently ban Erica Kirk.
Tonight I found some creepy hidden TikTok videos. Welcome back, family. This is actually a recap of this week's episode. I posted 6 videos this week, so this is a recap of some of my favorite videos of the week. This is in order from like the most craziest to the least. Enjoy the video, fam. Let's go.
Allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein?
So that's a big rumor that's going around right now. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a crazy rumor. There's also a lot of memes spreading, and someone said this earlier. It had me crying, bro. I was like, yo.
Yeah. What are you?
I am really disappointed that we didn't get any close-up shots of this, but to be fair, I can understand why this person was afraid. This looks pretty creepy. This TikTok video that I got tagged in shows a person walking on a beach in New Zealand. They're going past this cave. They then look inside of the cave, and we see this really weird object that kind of resembles a spider, and they're wondering what it is. The first thing that people thought this was an aloe ferox plant that had died and washed up on the beach. And while this does look quite similar, because this video was recorded in New Zealand, it is highly unlikely because aloe ferox does not natively grow there. A lot of people also thought that it was an animal of some kind, but again, that's really not realistic. Instead, I think it's more than likely some type of seaweed. And if I had to venture a guess for a specific type of seaweed, I would guess a bull kelp, because they're large, they have very thick tentacle-like structures, and it would make sense for it to wash up on the beach. That being said, that's just my guess, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.
These are videos the FBI has worked hard to make sure you haven't seen. They're from the Google Drive account of Thomas Crooks, the man who on July 13th, 2024, showed up at the Butler County, Pennsylvania fairgrounds and tried to assassinate the frontrunner, Donald Trump.
Take a look at what happened.
That day, Thomas Crooks came within a quarter inch of destroying this country. And yet, a year and a half later, we still know almost nothing about him or why he did it. That's because, for some reason, the FBI, even the current FBI, doesn't want us to know.
The Charlie Kirk's funeral thing, his wife, people are saying she didn't look devastated, fam.
Yeah.
My husband, Charlie, the one who took his life, that young man, I forgive him.
There's a lot of suspicious stuff going on there, because she did
she threw up the horns.
Yeah, like the Illuminati symbol. Yes. Also, she had like a Freemason ring or something.
Oh, no way.
When she was touching Charlie's body, it focused on her hand and she had like a Freemason ring on.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Like, we don't know for sure. It's just really suspicious.
We are so blessed to have more work than we even could ever dream of. I mean, it's beautiful, full steam ahead. I was there from the beginning of all of it.
Like I said on one of my previous videos, I feel like Erica Kirk gives too much of like this really weird vibe. Like, I don't know, dude. At the end of the day, I feel like the world can be like a show, so who knows?
DoorDash girl has been arrested. If you don't know who DoorDash girl is, she went viral after getting deactivated by DoorDash for posting a video of her going into a customer's house and recording them without any pants on. Now, the full story of this, she was told to leave the food outside of the customer's door. The customer's door was cracked, so she went in, and then the whole recording thing happened. Now, the reason she was arrested for this is because she published the video of her entering the customer's house online. So she was charged with both unlawful surveillance and publishing the video of the unlawful surveillance.
If the universe is really 13.8 billion years old, shouldn't there be aliens everywhere? And if not, why not? I think it was Carl Sagan who said that there appear to be either there's either a lot of aliens or no aliens, and either one is equally terrifying. Meaning, if there are no aliens, then what we have here is very rare. And then
aliens is more terrifying.
More terrifying.
I think it's more likely though, right? If the universe is 13.8 billion years old.
Well, this is why I call this a great physicist, Enrico Fermi, who pose the question of like, where are the aliens? Now, a lot of people ask me, like, what about the aliens? Have you seen any evidence of aliens? I've seen no evidence of aliens.
Me personally, I think that there's low-key a lot of aliens. It's just that the universe is so big, it's kind of hard for them to find us and for us to find them. At least not with the technology we have.
This is 2 days in a row now, guys, that I've covered a video of somebody falling off of a high place, and it's something that could have been avoided. This is a video that went relatively viral about a week ago. In it, these people can be seen walking up a mountain, and at the same time, there's a person in the distance sliding uncontrollably towards the edge of the mountain, and things ended up exactly the way you'd expect here. For context, this video was recorded on Mount Nama, which is located in China. It's a roughly 18,000 foot mountain. And while it's not the most technical mountain, at least compared to other ones like K2, just like any mountain, things can go wrong and people can lose their lives. What ended up happening here is this 31-year-old climber untied his tether to the safety rope, which is this one that everybody is attached to. He ended up slipping and falling, and once he started getting that downwards momentum, it was pretty much game over and nobody could do anything to save him. That being said, I did see a lot of people thinking that these other climbers should have rushed down to grab him. Again, I want to remind you guys, though, there's not much oxygen up here. These people wouldn't have been able to make it there in time. There's just so many issues. They could only sit and watch.
Get this, this 23-year-old law student from the United Kingdom was just sentenced to 25 years in a Dubai prison after being in an apartment where 50 grams of cocaine was found during a drug raid. Her name is Mia O'Brien. She was studying law at the University of Liverpool and had flown to Dubai to visit a friend and her friend's boyfriend. Police ended up raiding the apartment she was staying in and found 50 grams of cocaine, which is worth about $3,400. And since all three were present in the apartment, all three were arrested and charged. And what's the punishment for being a convicted drug dealer in Dubai? A life term. After a one-day trial spoken fully in Arabic with no translator, Mia learned her fate after the trial was over. 25 years in prison and a $136,000 fine. O'Brien has been sent to Dubai Central Prison, which apparently is a, quote, hellhole where rape and assault is an everyday occurrence. The prison is known for being overcrowded, having brutal guards, and inhumane conditions. Last year, the Human Watch organization stated that both male guards and male inmates were permitted access to attack the female inmates.
55 ingredients for one sandwich. Still hungry? They show you this, but hide everything right behind me. You thought it was just chicken? Nah, this thing got preservatives, fillers, flavor boosters, a whole chemistry set. This bun's got more chemicals than you think it does. Bleached, rebuilt, and sugared up. I bet you didn't know they gotta add anti-foam just to keep this oil from bubbling like a volcano.
I know you're thinking about me. What are you waiting for? I'm right down the street.
Just remember, it ain't 3 ingredients, it's 55.
That's always insane to think about. Like, just think about like getting, like, for example, he showed a burger, right? You think it's like beef, bread, cheese. In reality, it'd be like 30 to like 60 ingredients. For example, McDonald's French fries. You'd think McDonald's French fries is just potato, salt, oil, 3 ingredients. It's 19.
This is why you should always trust your gut. In the early 1970s, a college student decided to hitchhike his way home after class. A car pulls up, a man offers him a ride, and he climbs in. As soon as the car started moving, the student felt totally uneasy, like something was wrong but he couldn't quite place it. Without saying anything, he waited till the next time they slowed down and he flung the door open and ran away. 2 years later, he's flicking through TV channels when he comes across this special interview with a death row inmate. And it's just the audio recording, so he hears the interviewer ask the inmate, "Why did you remove all the door handles inside of your car?" The man just goes, well, the first time I tried to kill someone, I picked up a college hitchhiker who got smart at some point and jumped out of my car. So, lesson learned, remove all the door handles. When they showed his picture, the student knew immediately that he was supposed to be the first victim of John Wayne Gacy, aka the killer clown, who had killed over 30 men and boys in his clown room and stuffed them into his basement.
Did you know after Biggie got shot, Snoop went on an interview and said, Tupac's death I think was gang-related, but Biggie I think it was something a little bit more governmental. Notorious B.I.G., East Coast rap legend, was murdered on March 9th, 1997 in Los Angeles. Just 6 months earlier, his rival and friend-turned-foe Tupac Shakur was killed in a drive-by shooting. Their deaths were part of the violent East Coast versus West Coast hip-hop feud, fueled by record label heads Puff Daddy and Suge Knight. After Tupac's murder, Suge Knight in prison allegedly orchestrated revenge through a gang member named Poochie. In March 1997, Biggie was in LA filming a music video. Despite warnings of danger, he stayed for a party. While driving away, Poochie, waiting in a parked car, pulled up beside Biggie's vehicle at a red light and shot him 5 times. Biggie was rushed to the hospital but died at 24. The killer was never officially identified, and the case remains unsolved. Poochie himself was killed years later. The deaths of Tupac and Biggie symbolize a tragic era of hip-hop rivalry, with many questions still unanswered. Biggie's death was, and still is to this day, a mystery. No one truly knows who did and why they did.
Dude, that whole storyline of Biggie and Tupac was always just so weird to me, that two big icons like that both kind of went out in a similar fashion. Who do y'all think was the better artist at the time? A lot of people have their own opinions, so let me know. Do you think Biggie or Tupac?
Of Sergeant Tyler Zeigel with his new wife taken on their wedding day, October 2006. You could see she looks scared, distraught, not happy, ends up divorcing him a year later. The VA then basically abandoned Sergeant Zeigel, who, of course, because of his injuries, can't really work, and tragically he passes away a few years later due to drug and alcohol abuse. And for what? Like, what did we get out of sending a promising young man like Tyler to basically die in a war that we were lied into? Look, it's one thing to defend your country against foreign invaders. I'm all for protecting America. But this war with Iran has nothing to do with America and everything to do with Israel.
With regard to your question about the influence of Israel and the lobby on the United States, the influence of the lobby in the United States is awesome. There's just no question about that. This is a war for Israel. Basically, the Israel firsters trump the American firster.
I'm telling you, if we stay in bed with Israel, it will be the end of the United States as we know it.
What if it turns out the real reason orcas don't murk us is because this whole time, they've actually been trying to domesticate us? Wild take, but hear me out. Orcas are a monochromatic middle finger to the entire ocean food web. Except orcas have also had the habit of giving humans gifts. Unprovoked. From 2004 to 2024, there have been almost 40 individual cases of a steroid gigadolphin delivering food to people, straight Uber Eats. These gifts ranged from anything from fish to seals to seabirds. And basically it would always happen the same way. An orca would pull up on a person and open its mouth and then drop the gift right in front of them and then just wait to see what would happen. Sometimes the orcas would insist, with the orcas offering it more than once and probably getting offended when the divers wouldn't take it. The only other predator to do something like that would be the false killer whale, and him. So what are orcas cooking? Orcas will bait other animals using food, but considering none of the humans involved became hashtags, that ain't it. It could be the cat thing where they see us as emaciated struggle dolphins and are trying to feed us, or they could just be curious and want to see what'll happen. The wild part is, these incidents have happened all over. California, New Zealand, Norway, Patagonia. That's not just a trend by one or two pods, that's several separate families moving on the same timing. And you know what? There was a time where killer whales and humans were pretty much on wolf timing, with the orcas in New South Wales actually having a history of hunting alongside humans and sharing the result by the law of tongue, authored by a cunning linguist. There's still a lot we don't know about a plus-size salt panda, and the more we try to learn, the more they probably study us too. So I guess the more they know.
Dude, in a way, orca-human cooperation seems so fire. If we could get orcas to be on the same timing like we have with our dogs, bro, human species would take over the whole planet. I swear to God.
This mom hunted down cartel members who kidnapped and 20-year-old daughter.
Oh, damn, she's like Liam Neeson with it.
So this started in 2012 in Mexico, and it was about this mom named Miriam Martinez. That same year in 2012, her daughter one day just didn't come home because she was kidnapped by the cartel. Her and her family paid for the ransom to basically try to get their daughter back, and they still didn't bring her back. She even met up with some of the members to try to negotiate getting her daughter back. In 2014, sadly enough, she ends up finding her own daughter's remains.
Damn.
Yeah, like police end up letting her know that, yeah, we found your daughter and she passed. For the next couple years, this lady takes it upon herself to get all of these dudes. Where
Really? She made a hit list.
Bro, pretty much. She was disguising herself as different people so she would be able to get like intel and where these guys are gonna be at and all these other things. And she was doing that for years where they wouldn't even know she was there. Throughout the next like 3 years, she ends up getting about 10 of these guys, and pretty much majority of the dudes that had anything to do with her daughter's death, they all went down.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much all the guys that were involved with her daughter's death.
Yo.
And she even helped find other people that,
were
getting kidnapped by the cartel and, you know, just went missing and stuff like that. So she even extended that, you know, that ladder a little bit. Sadly enough, this one day in 2017, she's at her house by herself. Out of nowhere, a bunch of these cartel guys burst into her house.
Damn.
And
They got her.
They lit her up. They times.
Whoa.
And they ended up finding out that she was the reason why all of their dudes were going down out of
Yeah.
nowhere for the last couple of years. So they ended up killing her, and it was surprisingly on Mother's Day.
Oh.
Yeah, but this lady, bro, she went out as a hero.
No, for real, bro. She saved hella people.
Yeah.
In 1969, a pigeon landed on a man's head and refused to leave, so he quickly accepted that this would just be his life now. Glynn was walking home from his job as a tax inspector in England when the pigeon just swooped down and plopped on his head. He tried to shoo it away a few times, but the bird would just fly around in a circle and then land back where it started. So Glynn did what any reasonable person would do and just surrendered to his fate. He went shopping, met friends for coffee, and took neighborhood walks, all with a pigeon perched calmly on his head. The only exception was work. Each morning, Glynn would leave with the pigeon in his garage, and once he got all the way to work, his wife would release the bird. And every single evening upon his return, the pigeon was waiting for him, ready to claim his spot again. Soon, Glynn ended up in a BBC interview where he calmly explained that he had just learned to live with it. He admitted that in a week, he'd gone through 3 suits and half a dozen shirts, but he remained remarkably unbothered by the entire thing. Then, when the story hit the local papers, a couple immediately recognized the pigeon as their beloved pet Charlie, who had a habit of sitting on their heads too. The week prior, Charlie had flown away while they were taking him for a walk, so when he spotted another steady head to land on, he apparently decided to adopt it. In the end, Charlie finally made it back to the right head, and the couple was endlessly grateful that Glynn had been such a gracious pigeon babysitter. I'm Jen, and I post something positive every day.
Dude, you know how many times that bird probably that dude's head or on his clothes? Like, ew.
Erica Kirk knew Trump before she knew Charlie. She actually won Trump's Miss Arizona pageant. Her parents are both from military intelligence family. Her dad did Raytheon arms deals with Israel, probably unrelated. And Erica Kirk was part of running an orphanage in Romania where children went missing. Enough children for Romania to permanently ban the orphanage and permanently ban Erica Kirk. Do you know how f***ed up you gotta be to get banned in Romania? Andrew Tate is the mayor there. You really gotta push some boundaries. Mind you, this is when Epstein was still active, so I'll let you connect the dots. By the way, I'm not suicidal. For the record, I'm quite happy, okay? You heard it here. But the weirdest thing about Erica Kirk, she met Charlie Kirk not on Christian Mingle. She went in to interview at his company, Turning Point USA. He said that he fell in love right away. Now, 4 years later, he's dead. And she has now inherited Turning Point USA. She's doing podcasts on it too. Like, I'm so excited. Like, to my future wife, please wait 2 months after I die before doing a podcast. 3 months if it's my own. Come on. When you look at how fast she moved on, and then you look at how it started and how it ended, how it started was not romance. How it started was her going in for a job, and how it ended was her getting a promotion. So I'm just saying. It was probably Tyler.
You see that video of Diddy and Nipsey Hussle? What? No. There's a video, Diddy, Nipsey Hussle, and Nipsey's girlfriend all listening to music I think Nipsey made.
Okay.
And they're in the studio. Nipsey, he's clapping along like this.
Yeah.
Because he's proud of his work. And then Diddy, he tries to alpha him. He's like, nah, you better stop clapping. Just to be the alpha. No, for no reason.
Cool, I'ma teach myself, make my first meal on my own. I don't need your help. All black, yo.
We gotta go back to the break. We gonna go back to the break. I'm gonna clap all night. Yeah, I would.
Find me out different place. The spoke by door, it's the infiltration. Double back there, blue lace.
Lord, I cracked you out.
There's Diddy right there. But look, she starts clapping and Cassie starts clapping. Yeah. So he can't do anything now. But he obviously gets pissed. Nipsey was obviously lined up by somebody before. People are saying anytime somebody's disrespected Diddy, something happens to them.
Damn.
And it just so happens.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about shit. Whatever I want, I get. Whatever I want, I fucking get.
Someone better tell Diddy to chill the hell out, bro. I don't know. I feel like that was a stretch. I don't think anything there was too offensive. I think Diddy was just trying to be like, you know what I'm saying, try to joke around in my opinion. But I don't think Diddy got Nipsey killed.
In the world. Michael and I
Think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
Does anything scare him?
You know, well, when Michelle's mad, when Michelle's mad.
With my husband Michael and hold hands. It's like a whole new world for me. Just walking and holding hands.
With my husband Michael and hold hands.
You are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, you know, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man. You know, would you care to share that journey of?
Well, I
Yo, that zoom in was so unnecessary. That's hilarious. The one where Michelle Obama was like, as a Black man, she was talking to the other dude. She wasn't talking about herself. That one was like a misunderstanding for a lot of people, like a misconception.
This is a real photograph of Trump and Bill Clinton, and it kind of makes the recent Epstein email disclosures make a little more sense. So this is one of the emails released by the House Oversight Committee recently, detailing an email chain between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother Mark. As you can see at the bottom, Mark and his brother Jeffrey are talking about Donald Trump at the beginning of this email chain. At one point, Epstein states that he's with Bannon. I'm assuming that's Steve Bannon. And then Mark Epstein, Jeffrey's brother, emails him and says, ask him if Putin still has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. If you don't know, Bubba is a very common nickname for former US President Bill Clinton, who Trump claims publicly that he hates, but who he has had a very close personal friendship with in the past. And I don't know about you, but I don't typically just grab my friends on the crotch. This is definitely a strange photo. If you even check out the top of that email chain, there's another weird message. And Mark Epstein, Jeffrey's brother, emails him saying, you and your boy Donnie can make a remake of the movie Get Hard. Now, could this possibly be true? Could there potentially be photos of Donald Trump blowing Bubba, aka Bill Clinton? Obviously, I do not have the answers, but this is an official piece of information released by the US government, and this rabbit hole goes extremely deep. I talk about this stuff all the time on my channel, The Conspiracy Files, which you can listen to as a podcast. I've done hour-and-a-half-long deep dives on Trump and Epstein and Clinton and Epstein recently, so if you want to learn more about this deep, dark rabbit hole, please, I encourage you to go check those out.
Did Erica Kirk just accidentally expose TPUSA for lying?
How did you find out Charlie had been shot?
was at my mom's doctor's appointment. I put my phone down and it was on silent, so I had no reason to look back at it. I moved my mom. I went back to grab my phone, and that's when Mikey started calling me. Called me within seconds.
She said that Mikey called her within seconds, which does line up with this clip of Mikey McCoy, Charlie Kirk's chief of staff, picking up his phone as soon as Charlie was shot. We talked about this a couple weeks ago and about how bizarre and weird it was, his reaction, not running, not jumping to Charlie's aid, but instead making an immediate phone call, kind of like he knew that things were about to go down. Not saying he did, but that's what it looked like. And this led to the TPUSA folks responding, saying, no, Mikey was actually not on the phone.
They're alleging that he was on the phone immediately. He was not. He was taking social videos, which he would send to our group chat, which we would then put on Charlie's social while the event was happening, so you could see like the crowd come in or his interactions. And we were only 2 questions into this event, so he was still getting it out to all the chats he needed to do, which he did at every event. He turns around and it was so blaringly loud, I'm told. You would know this better than I, but this is what I'm told. It was so blaringly loud and he was so shell-shocked. He put his fingers in his ear, but his phone was still in his hand.
Okay, so now we have 2 different sides of the story. Erica says that Mikey called her within seconds, but Andrew Colvett here says that Mikey was not on his phone, but rather just putting his hands up to cover his ears from the loud noise. Some may see this as a small detail, a potential small lie, but what I'll say to that is, people who tell small lies also tend to tell bigger lies at some point. So Mikey, we're gonna want to see that call log.
This is probably the worst way that a person went out. It is my true nightmare. So this happened in 2002 in New York. It happened to this guy named Sean Doyle. He was a bartender out there in New York. He was out there hanging out with his friend, Michael Wright, and his girlfriend. So they're all out and they're drinking together. And I guess after they ended up going and getting drinks, they all go out to the street. They're walking up the street. This guy, Sean, he pretty much ends up getting into this big argument with Michael. Michael believed that Sean was trying to flirt with his girlfriend to the point where they start tussling. Michael ends up pushing this dude, Sean, on the street. Sean falls down, and Michael didn't realize that there was an open manhole right next to where he pushed him. And this dude, Sean, falls all the way down the manhole, bro.
Really?
Yeah, so he falls down there, but he survives the drop.
Oh, shit.
There was a steam tunnel down there that pretty much was broken. It was just shooting a bunch of hot steam that was over 300 degrees Fahrenheit.
Cooked him.
They ended up trying to call for help, and a bunch of people came through, and nobody could help him because the degrees were so hot they couldn't even get close to him.
Can't do anything about it.
So after 4 hours, eventually you just stop hearing him scream. They ended up going and, firefighters ended up taking his body out. The way they described this guy is absolutely insane. They said that this guy's skin literally was melted off. Like, it literally was peeled off. His belt fused to his waist. And then also they said his organs and everything literally got fully steamed like a lobster. And he was alive the whole time. Oh my God. As he was getting cooked alive, bro.
Okay, you need to genuinely ask yourself what the odds are that Kate Middleton, when presenting her newborn to the world, dresses up exactly like the actress in the movie Rosemary's Baby. But do you know what happened in the movie Rosemary's Baby? In this film, Rosemary is impregnated by a member of a satanic cult and gives birth to the Antichrist. And this is how this woman dresses up. Literally, look at the necklace, like it's identical. What are the odds of that? Now, if we're past that it's obviously 1 in a trillion, that this was like a whoopsie-daisy coincidence, what does this mean? Is this hiding something in plain sight? Are they sending a message? Is the message that they're in a satanic cult? I'm not sure about the Antichrist part of it. But to me, I don't know what other message you could get from this than they're telling you that they're in a satanic cult. If someone else has another idea, let me know in the comments below. It seems that the people in control or in influence of this world today are rebelling against the natural world. And that's why we're seeing all kinds of toxins and chemicals in the food, air, and water supply.
On December 20th, 2019, 14-year-old Harley Dilley was...
Women prison workers who fall in love with an inmate and then help them escape? Now this story starts with this woman, Bobby. And Bobby's 32 years old when all this begins, and she's living in Oklahoma, but Bobby has a huge problem. She's not happy with her marriage. She and her husband allegedly just aren't clicking anymore like they used to, and sometimes it gets lonely for her. But all that is about to change, because Bobby works in the state prison in Oklahoma, where she runs a pottery class for inmates. And one day in 1993, she meets this inmate, Dial. Dial is actually serving time for murder. But despite that, he's actually considered a well-behaved prisoner. He follows the rules, the staff likes him, he's also a talented artist, like he's really good at sculpting. So the prison staff gives him special privileges, like he's allowed to work outside the prison walls sometimes, and he's allowed to help Bobby run her pottery class for the inmates. And because of that, he and Bobby start spending a lot of time together, making pottery and teaching inmates. Sometimes they even leave the prison grounds to visit shopkeepers and, I guess, either buy supplies or sell their pottery. And while all this is going on, Bobby starts thinking, Dial, he's kind of fine. And he thinks Bobby is fine right back. And they end up liking each other, and they end up falling in love. But of course, he's an inmate, so they gotta keep this romance hidden. But here's what makes all of this extremely complicated. Bobby's husband also works at the prison. He's actually the deputy warden. Now, at some point, Bobby starts thinking that this secret, hidden, emotional affair that she's having with Dial, it's just not working for her. She can't do it anymore. But instead of ending the relationship, she decides to help Dial escape from this prison so that they can run away together and, I guess, live on the run for the rest of their lives? I don't really know what their plan is. So, some time passes, and it's now 1994, and the big day finally comes. The day they're going to attempt this escape. And Bobby tells her deputy warden husband that she's leaving to go shopping, and she leaves. Then she takes their minivan and, I guess, picks up Dial, and together they just drive off the prison grounds. And since this is not the first time she and Dial have left the prison together, I assume the guards think that they're just going to the shops to sell some pottery or something, and they let them pass by. So Bobby abandons her job, her husband, and her 2 kids, because she's got 2 kids at home. And she and her convicted murderer inmate lover flee the state, and they travel from Oklahoma all the way down to Texas. Meanwhile, back at the prison, the deputy warden husband, he eventually realizes that not only is his wife missing, but Dial the inmate is also missing, and that they're together. So he calls the police, and they start investigating. But they all assume that not that they ran away together, but that Dial had kidnapped Bobby and used her to escape. So they start looking for them, and there's this whole manhunt, and they place Dial on the FBI's most wanted list. But by now, Dial and Bobby are in Hurst, Texas. And there, they stop at a local store, and Bobby calls, not her husband, but her mom, and she's like, "Hey mom, I can't talk now, but I'm okay." Then later, she calls one of her friends, and she tells her the same thing. She's like, "I want you to call home and tell the kids that I love them." And I guess the friend's like, okay. So Bobby never directly calls her husband or her daughters. Anyway, after that, she and Dial keep driving until they get to Houston. And there, they settle down. And Dial, somehow he gets a job as a security guard because I guess they don't do background checks at this place. But apparently, these two don't feel safe in Houston because they don't stay there for long. So they move again. They move a few times, actually. And finally, they end up in Campty, Texas, which is literally in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's nothing but a few dirt roads out there. But there, they change their names, and they both land a job at this local chicken farm, earning like $500 a week. And they start building a life there. They live in this trailer home, and they start going to church regularly. They're doing everything to act like any normal couple. Although they mostly avoid close interactions with other people, they kind of just keep to themselves. And this goes on for years. And no one at work or at the church appears to suspect anything. Then, around 2001, someone writes a book about their escape, and it gets published. And Dial picks himself up a copy, he takes it home, and he reads it. Now, this book portrays Dial as a kidnapper. It claims that he kidnapped Bobby. So Dial, he gets all mad and he somehow gets the author's contact info and he calls him to try and correct the record and say, no, she came with me willingly. Plus, he tells the author that he and Bobby are happy and that they're doing okay. Then he even puts Bobby on the line to say hi. And now, of course, this author immediately reports this call to the police, and police investigate it, but nothing comes of it since police don't know where this call was actually coming from. So anyway, more years pass, and they keep living incognito working on this chicken farm. But then, in 2004, something terrible happens. Dial actually has a heart attack, and he ends up in the hospital. And Bobby, she stays home, and she's apparently devastated by this. She even writes him a love letter about how much she misses him. Now, he eventually recovers, and they go back to their normal chicken farm life. So it seems like they're just gonna keep up this life on the run forever, and police are never going to bust them. Until it's 2005. Which means they've been on the run, living together for 11 years. And around this time, the TV show America's Most Wanted airs an episode talking about the Dial and Bobby prison escape. Then someone in Texas, who I guess lives near Dial, sees his picture on the America's Most Wanted TV show website, and they go, wait a minute, that's my neighbor. And so this person calls the police, and soon enough, a whole lot of sheriff's deputies show up and they surround the chicken farm. And so, bam, Dial is arrested. Here's his mugshot. And of course, they take Bobby into custody because they got a whole lot of questions for her. Now, when they question her, she starts claiming that she's not in a relationship with Dial, that he actually forced her to help him escape at knife point, and that he kept her prisoner for 11 years. Then when they question Dial, he sticks up for her. He says, yeah, don't blame her, blame me. I kidnapped her and held her captive for 11 years. So it seems like they coordinated this response, that if they ever got caught, they would blame it all on him so that she wouldn't have to go to prison like he has to. But here's the thing. The feds, they're not buying this whole story. They think Bobby was in love with Dial and that she was in on his escape. Partly because when they searched Bobby and Dial's trailer, they found the love letter she wrote him. They also found cards that they exchanged. They also found a box of condoms. They also found a sex toy. Not to mention, there were 2 bedrooms in the trailer, but only one of them was being used. Also, when he had a heart attack and was in the hospital, she could have just, left and escaped. But she didn't. So eventually, they charge Bobby with helping him escape incarceration, and she goes to trial, and she's found guilty, and she's sentenced to 1 year in prison. While Dial, he takes a plea deal for the escape, and he's sentenced to 7 years in prison on top of his original sentence.
If you ask me, bro, 1 year in prison, yeah, she got off really light. She got off really light for that. But my biggest concern was, what did her daughters think? Because she left the daughters when they were young. I'm guessing around ages 8 to 11. So it took her 11 years of being missing. So by then, their daughters were between 18 to 22. So I wonder what they thought when their mom was just hiding out with some dude a couple of hours away from them and not communicating with them or nothing.
You might think that I'm exaggerating, but walking through this would have you literally pass out within 1 second, and then you'd be dead within 1 minute. This is a fascinating video that I scrolled across on Reddit. It shows this man lighting up a flare, tossing the flare into this small ditch, and instead of the smoke just sinking down to the bottom here, we can see that it hovers here about 3 feet above the surface of the ground. That's because this flare was tossed into something known as a mizuku, which directly translates to evil wind. Mizukus are pockets of carbon dioxide gas typically found in places with high volcanic activity or tectonic activity. And what happens is the carbon dioxide gas gets released into the atmosphere, and that carbon dioxide, because it's heavier than normal air we breathe, just sits and rests in low places. The gas is also odorless and colorless, so you can't see it, and if you accidentally walk through one of these valleys filled with the gas, you're gonna die. Even worse, kids are most affected because they're lowest to the ground. Later in the video, the guy also walks through the mizuku, which is honestly crazy. He is at a safe height here, but if he were to duck down and take a breath, again, he would die.
That guy is brave, because how do you know something could potentially kill you, but then you still choose to walk through it? Blows my mind, bro.
Hey guys, I'm going to show you some of my most bizarre yoinks. One of my favorites is this PodTuber, but it gets a whole lot crazier than this. The electric eel has to be one of my craziest yoinks, that's for sure. I didn't get shocked at first, but while I was picking it up, it got me. At this point, it's normal for me to boop anacondas, play with some giant caimans, and big old crocodiles. But the mission's not over yet. Only time I'm really going to get fired up is if I get that 20-foot anaconda or 20-foot Burmese python. That would be cool. But yoinking a medium-sized capybara is pretty crazy. And we can't forget this big sniffer. This southern tamandua was not willing to let me pet him, but I had to do it anyways. We can't forget this coyote. He submitted to the yoink. You don't see people yoink coyotes every day, or Argus monitors. He did not like the yoink. He came right back after me. This is a pretty strange one. Yoink. This is an eastern diamondback rattlesnake. Not too common you see people holding these wild snakes in their face. This is a sketchy yoink, if anything. Like most of the stuff I yoink, if it kissed me, I'd be in a world of hurt. This is pretty bizarre. Fishing Garrett actually fishing. Check out this giant tarpon. He was quickly released. Check out this giant porcupine fish. It's only bizarre because of how big it is. Pretty normal for me to have ants all over my feet, though. But this is pretty bizarre. 3 waxy monkey tree frogs. These things are so gnarly looking. Not every day you get a little coon chewing on your leg. But we can't forget, yoink. I yoinked Kevin. But at this point, it's getting pretty normal for me to be surrounded by alligators in the Florida Everglades. Nothing too out of the ordinary going on here. But we can't forget the most deadly creature of all, this little jungle puppy. You can see the mom side-eyeing me to make sure I don't yoink him. I wonder if him and the 20-footer would be friends. Haha, good one.
You guys are going to see in this video, Buzz Aldrin, the guy who went to the moon apparently, is going to react to Trump talking about space. Now, if you don't know this, Buzz has admitted multiple times that we haven't gone to the moon or space or anything like that. If you don't believe me, I'll show you after, but watch this clip.
We'll look back and thought politics would do that. Well, we'll have to rely on space and some...
So blatantly obvious. Did you see the eye roll at the end there? It's so blatantly obvious that this guy's soul is screaming. He hates that he lied. I'm gonna show you some other clips here where he can't lie.
Have you been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. This is a secret I've been keeping for almost half a century. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong and I pulled off humanity's first extraterrestrial prank.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest? It didn't happen. It could have been scary. Nice. Can you believe that space is going to do that? I thought politics would do that. Well, we'll have to rely on space.
It simply does not get any more obvious than this. This dude's got a soul. He's got a heart, and he feels terrible. You can tell he can't lie to children, he can't lie to people, and he can't stand when people are lying on stage in front of the camera, in front of the masses. Because space is not real. It is fake. Always been right in your face. Space baby, the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. It's too obvious at this point. If you're choosing to believe they went to the moon in this, then you deserve slavery.
Yo, what does that mean? He goes, you deserve sleep.
Jew me, sue me, kick me, kike me. Those are the words that he told us that he would never use again.
Michael Jackson arrived at the location of his music video under an umbrella to protect him from the sun and with 2 children by his side. He was in Brazil to shoot the music video for his song, They Don't Care About Us. Last year, he angered Jewish groups when he sang these words. Michael then gave in to pressure and changed the song. But in Brazil, the controversial lyrics were back, and he sang it this way. We showed footage of the video shoot to Rabbi Marvin Heyer, an activist for Jewish causes, who was outraged because last June, Jackson sent him a letter of apology for singing those lyrics.
I'm shocked. Jew me, sue me, kick me, kike me. Those are the words that he told us that he would never use again. Now, I have a CD that he sent me with the words eliminated. Why couldn't he do the same thing in Brazil?
Last year, Michael said the intention of the song was to say no to racism, anti-Semitism, and stereotyping, but he did change the lyrics.
That boy Michael did not care. He was like, man, hold this and shut up.
What the hell? Holy shit. Oh my god. Alaska Airlines Q400. What the f are you doing over here?
Hey, I found myself in a bit of a predicament. I'm in the air right now, and I'm just kind of soaring around.
449, are you not supposed to be on that aircraft?
Yeah. I did a kind of a bad thing, kind of a selfish thing. But it's all good. I'm gonna go check out Rainier.
Yeah, 449, so you hijacked the plane is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm afraid I did.
Just flying the plane around, you seem comfortable with that?
Oh, hell yeah, it's a blast, man. I play video games before, so I know what I'm doing a little bit. Nah, everything's peachy clean. Just did a little circle around Rainier. It's beautiful. I think I got some gas to go check out the Olympics. And, yeah.
Well, if you can see the Olympics, the weather's good. I can see the Olympics from my window, and it looks pretty good over there.
Man, have you been to the Olympics? These guys are gorgeous. Holy smokes. This is probably like jail time for life, huh? I would hope it is for a guy like me. I got a lot of people that care about me, and it's gonna disappoint them to hear that I did this. Just a broken guy. Got a few screws loose, I guess. Never really knew it till now. Hey, pilot guy, can this thing do a backflip, you think? If you were to do it, how would you do it? Think I'm trying to do a barrel roll? And if that goes good, I'll just go nose down and call it a night.
I think the Rockwell one, the only one that completed a barrel roll. Mach 1 2 confirmed he did a barrel roll. Confirmed he cleared the surface of the water by approximately 10 feet.
All right, Rich, this is Captain Bill. Congratulations, you did that. Now let's try to land that airplane safely and not hurt anybody on the ground.
All right. Damn it, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to. I was kind of hoping that was going to be it, you know? Too long, I feel like one of my engines is going out or something.
I have no idea what that guy was thinking.
To this day, there are still people out there that think pranks like this are funny, so I'm here again to tell you that it's not. This is another viral TikTok video that I got tagged in that shows this person who's staying on the 9th or 10th floor of this apartment complex. We can see a group of people just standing down here minding their own business, and the person inside of the apartment complex throws a large plastic bag filled with water that coincidentally lands on one of the people below. Now, we have covered videos like this in the past, but usually when people throw water bags at other people below, it's at heights of 30 to 40 feet. This is already dangerous enough, but when you actually do some math for how long it took this bag to hit the person below, it comes out to around 65 miles per hour. That's how fast that bag of water was moving. You then factor in that 1 gallon weighs over 8 pounds, and even a simple liter of water weighs over 2 pounds, and this can cause a serious amount of damage. It's not funny at all. If you've ever done cliff jumping before, you'll know that water does not feel soft when you're falling from such a far height, or if that water is falling on you.
Covered in spikes. Looks like a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Whatever you do, don't touch that thing. You will regret it. Let me explain. Meet the sandbox tree. They are widely considered to be the most dangerous tree on planet Earth, and for a good reason. First off, basically every single part of this tree is poisonous. Those needles, poisonous. The seeds, poisonous. The bark is covered in a special type of sap, and the sap, poisonous. And if you touch the sap, it'll burn your skin. If you get it in your eyes, your days of having vision are over. Now the good news is sandbox trees give off these really beautiful fruit. The only problem is those fruit, literally explode. Like they literally just blow up. And when they do, they fire their poisonous seeds out up to 40 meters in every direction, which will obviously grow more sandbox trees. Nature's got jokes. Moral of the story, apparently, not all trees are good guys. Nature's little prank here is definitely a villain. And as always, follow for more facts. That is the last danger noodle you want to make angry. Let me tell you something. Meet the king cobra. These cold-blooded elite buttons are only found in Asia. And it's the largest venomous snake on planet Earth, getting up to 20 feet long. That's 3 copies of LeBron James stacked on top of each other. No thank you. But the crazy part is they're not actually a species of cobra at all. They get the name king cobra because their primary food source is other smaller cobras. They eat cobras. I would put that on my resume. But it's not just cobras. They'll eat all kinds of snakes, including various pit vipers, banded kraits, pythons. In fact, there was one documented case of one consuming a reticulated python. That's a reticulated python. Mix all of that with the fact that when they bite, they deliver enough venom to take down a full-grown elephant, and you'll understand why they're in a class of their own. Moral of the story, there's snakes, there's venomous snakes, and then there's the king. And as always, follow for more facts.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save 50...
To be fair, I'd expeditiously evacuate my soul and my bowels if I saw that in the water. At least if I didn't know what it was. So here's some thresher shark propaganda, because there's honestly nothing to fear. I mean that more for him than you. They're never not looking like they really need an adult. You ever search for social anxiety with gills, you will get a literal baby shark. They look like their own existence is a jump scare. It's because the big eyes help with grocery shopping where the sun barely shines part-time. They are introvert coded though, as they're shy, avoid people, and have no real record of hurting a human. I think, allegedly. Also, big eye threshers, actual name, they do these like daily migrations where they hide in a dark abyss during the day and only come up to eat at night. Now don't get it twisted, a shark is a shark and nature didn't cook for longer than Saturn's had rings just to make a shark that couldn't defend itself. Except it's not the teeth, it's the 50 Shades of Grey cosplay most people would call a tail. Threshers hunt by slapping the absolute daylights at a prey with that whip-like tail to stun them. But they could also deliver 12 years of prejudice on a person with one hit. There are legends of fishermen messing with a thresher until it whipped its tail and took one of their heads off. Now do I believe it? Not really, but the same tail that's instant NyQuil to fish and even some birds, like yeah, they will pimp slap Tweety right out the air, would easily knock your teeth out and probably break your neck. But then again, if you make this tsundere shark choose violence, you probably earned it. Also, I don't know what the record for shark vertical is, but the thresher is literally up there. Science says it's to remove parasites, disorient prey, or just to flex for females, but either way, I love me some thresher shark, that's all I gotta say.
She scoped the me a month ago. Stole everything. Money.
If you're thinking about going to Colombia, you might want to stay away from the dating apps because what happened to this man is wild. So this American guy traveled to Medellin, went on Bumble to meet women, and met her. They end up going on a date one night, then he brings her back to his place and she spiked his drink. This man completely knocks out and she steals all his money, his phone, and his computer. He then eventually wakes up 20 hours later in his hotel and then he goes to police and he reports what happened to him. Police then tell him that he's so lucky to be alive because about 40 Americans have been killed recently from this. So fast forward, a month goes by. And this man in this video is out in the city and bumps into the same woman that almost took his life. That's where you see in the video, he's chasing her and she's trying to run away. I was looking into other stories very similar to this one, and last year, this 50-year-old man from Minnesota was talking to a woman online who lived in Colombia. He then flew into Medellin to meet her, and only a few weeks into his trip, he calls his brother and asks that he send him $2,000. His brother transfers the money and then never hears of him again. Police then found this man's body dumped in a wooded area. It turns out that he was kidnapped and held at gunpoint for the $2,000 ransom. And this is the thing, a lot of these male tourists don't seem to be scared because they think that they're meeting only women, but when, you know, they're drugged and brought to the hotel, there's sometimes men there waiting for them. And let's just be clear, this isn't only happening in Colombia, it's happening in other foreign countries as well.
Dude, I was planning on going to Colombia eventually too, but I don't know, man. Now I'm definitely going to Colombia eventually, but maybe I might stay away from the women or something. I don't know.
Would you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon?
You bet your sweet ass.
Okay, put your left hand on the Bible. Put your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand and say, I, Edgar Mitchell.
I, Edgar Mitchell.
Affirm.
Affirm.
Under penalty of eternal damnation.
I don't believe in that, but
if you
penalty of eternal damnation.
That I walked on the moon on Apollo 14.
That I walked on the moon on Apollo 14.
Well, you know, you're the first astronaut to do that. We asked 6 other astronauts to swear on the Bible, and they refused to do it.
Well, I don't particularly like to take oaths like that either, because I don't accept the Bible as a gospel of anything except a historical record. But we did go to the moon. You bet your sweet ass we went to the moon. Okay, turn off the camera. Your interview is done. I've given you all the time I'm going to give you.
Okie dokie. Good to meet you.
I don't say it's a pleasure.
Understand.
Please get your ass out of my house.
Okay.
And you came here under false pretenses, and I think you're an asshole.
Well,
and if you continue this, and if you press us, I will personally take you to court.
I hope that you do. I invite you to. I'm going to give you my card so you can arrange that. And I'm encouraging you to arrange.
You're frankly not worth it.
No, we have you on the record saying you'll take me to court. I hope you do. Because we have proof that would prove it in a court of law that Apollo 11 didn't go to the moon. And I think it's something that you should see. I don't say that lightly, believe me. I don't say it lightly.
You have joking, sir. People can have fun. And maybe do that if they feel like they want to have a little fun on a trip to the moon. And as an independent producer,
Okay, we're heading out.
doing that is against moral ethics.
Lying about going to the moon is a satanic lie of gigantic proportions.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get...
I'm heading out. I appreciate it.
And get the hell out of my house. You're going to get a gun and shoot them at them before they get out of the office?
We have a video camera running if you want to do it.
Right.
That would be great footage for us. See you later. In court, I hope.
You want to call the CIA? Have them whacked.
Dude, the CIA is doing nothing to those kids, bro. I could tell that he didn't go to the moon. Like, he was faking it. Like, you could tell by, like, just how he was acting. He know damn well he did not go to no moon, bro.
The Dr. Phil thing, the Turnabout Ranch. If you're like a bad kid on Dr. Phil, you would get sent to one of these ranches. Daniel Bergoli, you know the bad baby kid? Oh, The yeah, girl? yeah, yeah. She came out recently with like an 8-minute YouTube video, and she's saying like the first 3 days she was not allowed to shower or Oh my sleep. God. She would sit in a circle of rocks. Yeah. And then if she even went like this, the camp counselors would yell at her. Yo, that's torture. No, it is. There's a thing called reflection. You would send into an arena. There would be a horse, and you would just have to do laps and pick up horse while reflecting on your bad behavior. What? This whole thing is going down. Dr. Phil is not even a doctor. Like, so another person came out, Hannah. She's like, the first day I got assaulted by a male camp counselor. So that's why Daniel Bergoli is now trying to start a case with her, because they silenced the Hannah girl. Yeah. So since she has more clout, she's trying to come out and say,
I really have to have her back on this because I truly believe that they did that. So, Dr. Phil, I'm going to give you from now till April 5th to issue an apology, not only to me, but to Hannah and any other child that you sent to Turnabout or any other program like this. And if you don't, I'm gonna handle things my way.
This TikToker, parents, she pretended as if she didn't do it. She jumped on live and was crying and all this other crazy stuff. She actually DM'd a true crime page to figure out the crime that she committed.
I heard about this, bro.
Bro, her name was Sarah Grace Patrick, and she was 17 years old. Her parents were already sleeping in their bed. She goes to some part of the house. I don't know where she got this weapon, but she grabs a gun and shoots both of them while they're sleeping in their bed.
Damn.
Her 5-year-old sister is the first person
To see them dead.
who discovers the dead bodies.
Damn.
So she goes to the room, and I think she went there for something that she needed or whatever.
Yeah.
Goes to the room, and she finds her parents in there. She starts screaming, and she starts hugging on her little sister, and she calls the police herself and says, somebody broke into the house, and they shot my parents. Everybody pretty much in the whole city finds out about it, and they all believe this girl's story.
Really?
She goes to the funeral for her parents. She's having like a speech, and she's crying, and she's doing this whole thing. People are clapping for her. They're all, you know, basically feeling bad for her. After the funeral and all that, she even goes on live. She's even making all these sad videos of being like, you know how there's that trend where people be like, in a couple months, this person doesn't know that they're gonna be murdered and yada yada yada. She made that type of video as well. Yes. Dude. She did one of those videos, and she was doing a bunch of content, just milking it. Long story short, the police started noticing some inconsistencies in the story. They were like, there was no force of entry. They were like, it had to be somebody they know, or specifically someone in the house. She ends up turning herself in. And right now she's still going through the process of figuring out how long she's going to be in jail.
She thought this was going to make her into like fucking Gypsy Rose or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Throw her into stardom.
After you die, you'd think you just end up in heaven forever. But biblically, that's not exactly true. There's this current heaven, but this isn't actually our final destination. See, at the end of time, there will be this new heaven and a new earth, which the Bible calls New Jerusalem. And the question is, what will this even look like? Well, on this new earth is this cubed city made of pure gold, 12,000 stadia in height, width, and length. Now, I did the calculations, and it turns out this comes from the ancient Greeks. One stadia would be around 185 meters. So, doing the math, this area would come to around 11 billion kilometers cubed. This city would be large enough to comfortably fit 200 quadrillion people. You see, there are these walls made of pure jasper. They are 66 meters thick, and this is what jasper looks like. In each direction are these 3 gates made of a single pearl, with an angel guarding each gate. The streets are made of this crystal clear, pure gold, and the very foundation of this place is decorated with every kind of precious stone. Now, interestingly, there won't be any sun or moon, because God himself will be our light. You see, my Father's house has many rooms, and this is what awaits us one day. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New Jerusalem.
Breaking news from Millennium Park, where protesters are demanding answers about Chicago's bean.
Good people of Chicago, we need to let you know that there is a man inside the bean.
New documents reveal $2.3 million in life support equipment purchased during the bean's 2004 construction.
There is a man trapped inside the bean. We're calling for his immediate release, please. In 2004, Anish Kapoor, the chief architect of the bean, stole a baby.
Former security guard Patricia Williams broke her NDA, stating, "I heard tapping every night for 3 years."
There's a man in the bean, will scream, will shout. Anish Kapoor, let him out, we're loud, we're mean. There's a man in the bean, will scream.
Thermal imaging confirms 98.6 degree human-shaped heat signature inside the bean. City record shows $67,000 monthly maintenance cost and 847 kilowatts daily power usage for supposedly solid steel. Protesters have intensified demonstrations.
There's a man in the bean. Folks, now's the time to get angry. We have to let you know. If you look just right, when the sun hits the bean, you can see a faint outline of a man. There is a man trapped inside the bean. Anish Kapoor, the chief architect and designer of the bean, put him there. He stole a baby and put him in the bean. It is our job to garner awareness. Please call this number. This is Brendan Riley, alderman of the 42nd Ward. He can free the man in the bean.
The alderman's office received 10,000 calls, but maintains the bean is solid. Don't worry, we'll continue to investigate despite the pressure to stop.
I saw this one comment when it was like food, water, and oxygen left the chart. But it's true though, like how could someone be trapped in there for so long? Mostly if they were a baby.
This video might be pretty unassuming, but once you hear the translation for this, it becomes abundantly clear that this is a very disturbing video. This video shows a smiling soldier from the Thai army known as Jack Rapantha talking about how his trigger finger is tired from how much use it's getting, which by itself is already a very weird thing to say. For context, back in February of 2020, Jack Rapantha committed one of the most deadly mass shootings in Thailand's history, known as the Nakhon Ratchasima shooting. He was supposedly mad at his commanding officer and his commanding officer's mother-in-law for cutting him out of a property deal and not giving him his money back, which resulted in him taking the life of the commanding officer and the mother-in-law, and then stealing military equipment, going to a crowded shopping center, and taking the lives of 29 individuals, wounding 58 others. This attack lasted from February 8th to February 9th before he was finally subdued and his life was lost in the process. All the while, he had multiple Facebook posts as well as a live stream, which is what this clip is from. Very morbid.
Oh, she's possessed, like straight up.
Wait, something's going on. Her face doesn't look like herself. Something's going on.
Yo, I seen this video. It's a couple that does these hauntings. And one of them was they actually explored a prison where a lot of people died, right? So this is when the husband was really scared. They have a code word whenever they go so you know that they're still there with you, right? The wife's sitting there and she's smiling. Like in the video, she even says, look in my eyes, because her eyes were just like looking at someone in the distance. Husband was like, baby, you remember our code word? And she's like, we don't have a code word. Don't be funny. I don't know what that is.
We have a safe word.
We don't have a safe word.
We have a rude safe word. What's the rude safe word?
No, we'll make it up.
Come on.
I don't want to go.
Come on.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. That was not good.
The husband's like, okay, we have to get out of here. Let's do a ritual on you real quick before we go because this is like haunted.
Yeah.
You want to see it?
Oh, she's possessed, like straight up.
Yeah, she said this is the first time I felt like an
What's
entity.
the safe word?
Like a safe word.
What's the safe word?
And now we don't have a safe word.
Oh, that's crazy.
We have a rude safe word. What's the
And
rude
they always have a safe
Nah,
word.
that's wild.
Are you trying to exorcise me?
I'm this congregatio. And secta diabolic.
I'm low-key trying to figure out what spell he's about to do on her, but nah, that's crazy, dude. Stuff like that kind of scares me, I'm not gonna lie.
Yo, y'all remember the boy Shia LaBeouf, right? Like the main cuz that used to play in Transformers and shit? Yo, he was trying to tell us some shit. Listen to this shit.
I remember we had an FBI consultant on the picture telling me that they can use your ADT security box microphone to get your stuff that's going on in your house, or OnStar, they could shut your car down. And he told me that 1 in 5 phone calls that you make are recorded and logged. And I laughed at him, and then he played back a phone conversation I had 2 years prior to joining the picture, the FBI consultant. And it was like one of those phone calls, it was like, what are you wearing type of things.
So listen, right? As he was talking about that shit, it reminded me about the video I seen on TikTok where they said that our phones be taking like flashes of us like every couple seconds or something. It just made me really think like, bro, they really watching and listening to everything we do, bro. It's crazy.
I mean, it's a known fact that Edward Snowden exposed the NSA for tapping people's phones and like listening and watching and spying on people. And he had to run to Russia. But then Bob Lazar can expose that aliens are real and be chilling in the US.
Seriously, again, nobody is forcing you guys to do this. Why is this happening? This is another TikTok video that I got tagged in showing a person who's managed to squeeze not 1, not 2, but 3 fingers into elbow joints for pipes, and their fingers appear to be stuck, although I'm pretty sure this person's joking, and I honestly hope they are. Fortunately though, it's a human tendency to do things that we know we shouldn't be doing, sticking appendages where they shouldn't be going, and people have actually done this unironically, not on purpose, so here's what you're gonna do if you find yourself in this situation. You can first attempt to get this off using something like a lubricant. If that doesn't work and you have a metal file on hand, you can attempt to break it out yourself. Or what a lot of people do is call the fire department and have them get you out. It's not going to be the end of the world, it's just going to be an uncomfortable situation and something that you're going to look kind of foolish for. Again though, I'm pretty positive this guy is going to be able to get his fingers out without this. I'm sure he just did this for the video.
Well, I heard this thing. If cats like you,
yeah.
Do you think cats like you? Yes or no? Do they come up to you and shit?
Yeah, they do.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Nah, cause
I don't know if they like me, but they come up to me.
So this is like a real superstition that if cats come up to you, it means you're carrying a lot of bad energy.
What?
So check this out. So Ancient Egyptians, they used cats. That's why they always had them around. They used cats because cats, supposedly, they will take bad energy away from you and disperse it. So that's why they come up. They always cuddle next to somebody that's attached to bad energy, negative energy. And who always has cats in folklore? Who? The witches. Because they're dealing with what? They're dealing with all that negative energy. So they have a cat there to take it so it doesn't harm them.
It takes it away.
It takes it away. But let's say they come up to you, that means you have some on you. So they cleanse it and then you're good to go.
Nah, to be honest, like I believe in that bad juju. Like,
no, that's an interesting theory. I feel like a lot of the times though, cats just want food. Yep, that's it. They just want some food, so they come up to you and be like, yo, will this stupid human feed me?
Said, maybe celebrities who are one-hit wonders are just the ones who refuse to sell their soul. Now, this is MIA, the woman behind the song Paper Planes. You know, remember 2010, around there, the song came out. Listen to what she says happened to her in the industry, and now I'm thinking one-hit wonders probably are people who refuse to sell their soul.
I met Jay-Z and I signed to Rock Nation. The first thing he told me to do is get plastic surgery. I'm not insecure because I would have got plastic surgery. People make it, they all can turn around and thank Beyonce because that's it. And enough is enough. I'm fucking coming for everyone now. And even Adele, because she's retired now, but her career would not exist if I hadn't made Jonathan Dickens into a manager. And when she gets an award, she thanks Beyonce. Oh, I didn't want to drip myself in blood and cover myself in swimming goop, in black goop, and fucking like wear devil horns to fucking sell a record. Fuck that. All be a witch. All be that. All of that. Fuck all of that.
She didn't want to wear devil horns. She didn't want to drip blood all over. Are you guys hearing this correctly? And you know this woman, right? You know the song, Paper Planes. Now, there are many other one-hit wonders. Think of the guy from... This guy, Atlian Childs. He won X Factor in Australia in 2010. He subsequently, his career changed. He dropped a 4-hour video exposing Freemasonry and what they wanted him to do in the entertainment industry. People are coming out and blowing the whistle and exposing the inner workings. You'd think Hollywood ideally is like this organic movement that's like, let's entertain people and like give them fun things to think about. It's just not the case. There's something else going on here. Now, the majority of the entertainment industry is used to manipulate our conscious minds, subconscious minds, put us in a lowered state. The other way they do that is through the chemicals in the food, air, and water supply, which is part of the plan, to keep us in a lowered state so we can be easily manipulated.
The reason they teach you to like put your head down in a crash and stuff like that is to make, because if you crash headfirst in an airplane, not only are you for sure gonna die, but just to make sure, like if you're in that position, your spine would shoot through your fucking head. Like it would kill you instantly, right? So the theory is that they have you get in that position to make sure you die. Because the lawsuit, if you survive a commercial plane crash, is like ridiculous.
That's a wild.
It makes sense to me. I get everything's run by money, dude.
We talked about that conspiracy theory like in our video from months ago, and I still be thinking about like, is what he's saying really true? Because I read some comments that people were like, nah, it's actually for safety, it actually helps you. But then there's also people that's like, nah, bro, like they just want you to die because they don't want to get sued. But at the same time, when a plane crash happens, people's family could sue the company regardless.
This video went
in 2009, a 23-year-old man named Chris, along with his date, walked into a McDonald's in London, England. The following day, Chris had a very important job interview in the morning. This dinner in McDonald's was going to be the last part of the date. This McDonald's was dirty, it was packed with people, not exactly a romantic location for a date, but this was all Chris could afford. They hopped in line and they ordered their food and their drinks. After receiving them, began looking for tables. So they began walking around, and eventually they would find a table where there was one guy sitting there just eating his meal, and Chris very politely asked this guy, hey, would you mind if we sat here too? And the guy just kind of looked at him and he was like, sure, go ahead. Chris realizes the guy they're sitting with is no longer just looking at his food. He stopped looking at his food and he's just staring across the table at Chris's date. And like the way he's looking at the date does not seem friendly. Chris looks at this guy and he's like, what's going on? And this guy just begins insulting Chris's date. He says to Chris's date, you're an ugly pig.
Chris is like, I can't just sit here. And so Chris, who had actually never been in a fight in his whole life, stood up and he was like, hey man, get up. But as soon as he did that, Chris realized he had made a horrible mistake. Chris, he was only about 5'8" tall, and this guy, when he stood up, towered over Chris. But Chris, he just kind of winds up and hits him once, but then this huge guy just proceeds to beat the living crap out of Chris. After Chris had been battered by this total jerk, the guy kind of wandered off and was not held to account in any way. Chris looked at his date and she was totally rattled by it, and Chris was super embarrassed at this point. They left the McDonald's and they both went to their respective homes, and Chris just went to bed. And then the next morning, when Chris got up early because he has this big job interview, went into the bathroom and he saw he had this enormous black eye. He wondered what they would think of him if he showed up looking like this ruffian. But he was like, you know what? This is the biggest opportunity I've ever had. I just gotta go in there, try to be confident, and don't let the black eye define the outcome. Later that morning, Chris goes into the building, he's having his interview, and he can tell they're all staring at his black eye, but nobody brought it up. By the end of it, he had no idea what the interviewers thought of him. He thanked them for the opportunity, and he left thinking, I'm not gonna get the job. Not long after this interview, Chris got some shocking news. He had gotten the job, and it actually might have been because of his black eye. This job interview was actually an audition for a starring role in an upcoming TV show. And the character that Chris was auditioning for was this guy who's gotten into fights. Chris rolls in here looking like a guy who gets into fights, and they're thinking, oh my goodness, he can hit his lines, he's got the charisma, and he's even a ruffian himself. He fits the character perfectly. He's our guy. Chris got cast, and this TV show that he starred in became one of the most popular TV shows in the entire world. And so Chris went from who could barely afford a McDonald's to being this amazing actor who was getting nominated for Golden Globe Awards and was an A-list star. Today, Chris is better known by his stage name, Kit Harington. And the starring role that he landed that changed his life was the role of Jon Snow in Game of Thrones.
What a W story, man. Good for Chris, dude. He took something bad and made it into something good. You know what I'm saying? We need to be more like Chris.
We still need humans?
Not for most things. We'll decide. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. We believe unbelievable progress can be made, both inventing new vaccines and making sure they get out to all the children who need them. And the benefits there in terms of reducing sickness, reducing the population growth, it really allows the society a chance. It's a huge source of emissions, and there's new ideas about genetics and direct seeding. With cows, you can vaccinate them, change the genetics. Most of the time you're online, you're going to want to be in an environment where that people are truly identified. That is, they're connected to a real-world identity that you trust instead of just people saying whatever they want.
Honestly, after my Antarctica deep dive, we might have to do a Bill Gates and vaccines deep dive because, like, he's so big on population decrease and vaccines and how vaccines change certain genes. Bro, we're cooked. Anything that has to do with Bill Gates, vaccines, and food, we're not doing it.
How do they know which ashes to put in which box? And then I realized, oh, fuck, they don't know.
Tell me about multiple cremations.
Sure. Well, back then, because of the multiple cremations, see, I could cremate one guy in like 2 hours, or you could put 10 of them in there and take 2.5 hours.
10 people in that small space?
Difference? There is none. Hard-hearted as that sounds, there is none. To me, commingling of ash is not a big deal.
That's beyond commingling.
I don't put any value in anybody after they're gone and dead, as they shouldn't and when I'm gone and dead. That's not a person anymore.
If I was someone with an urn right now, I would be so upset because, like, what he's saying makes sense. Like, for them to put 10 people at once so it takes less time. But morally, I don't know if it makes sense morally.
This video should terrify you. She's part of an experiment, but she doesn't know it. Now you see these people, they're in on it. You see, she's facing the elevator exit. They're facing a wall that leads to nowhere. But because they're all doing it, watch what she does. She eventually folds and turns towards the wall heading nowhere. Now maybe she was just a follower, but now the guy in the white shirt is part of the experiment. Everybody faces towards him, he looks confused, but in a short period of time he turns around and conforms. Now this is where it really gets crazy. He's the victim, right? They walk in and they face him, and he looks really, really confused. Eventually he folds like everybody else, but then he starts to spin exactly like how they're spinning. Crazy, right? The harsh reality is that this is how most people are. It's easy to laugh and say that you would never be a sucker that does this, but most people don't understand the magnitude and how much people they're around affect their behaviors. It would be wise for you to be careful about who you're around, because everybody's a free thinker until they're in a room with a bunch of people facing the wrong direction.
Honestly, the deeper message in that video was very tough. Like, it was very, very understandable and very needed. But honestly, me personally, I am not doing a 360 in an elevator just because I see 3 other people doing a 360 in an elevator, dude.
Now, the conspiracy theory that's going to blow your mind? Let's do it. The day before 9/11, Rumsfeld gave a press conference where he talked about trillions of dollars missing. Then a plane slams into the very part of the building where they were doing the accounting. You have to see it. What the f did he just say?
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
Hey, what's up? Your mom's picking you up, right? Yeah. She sent me to pick you guys up. I don't know you guys' mom, by the way. Yeah, I don't know your mom. Why'd you get in the car?
Because you said you knew her mom.
Yeah, well, I don't, so.
Gee, what? Call on.
Call her up right now. Call your mom up. We're setting you guys up because you just got in my car. Like, you didn't even check with your mom to make sure someone else was picking you guys up. You just jumped in my car and you trusted me. We wanted to test you guys, and you failed.
You said you knew her mom.
Why'd you trust me without checking with your mom?
For all my parents watching this video right now, share this, clip this, cut this part of your video, and just show your kids this, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that they know never to just get in some random person's car. Because honestly, if that guy had bad intentions, those kids would have never been seen again.
If you're anything like me, you're probably wondering why all of these people are crying out after seeing this coconut be split like this, and as it turns out, this is bad news for these people. The video that you guys just watched went super viral, probably because there's no context to it. In it, this guy can be seen cutting a coconut, all of these people are spectating, and after the coconut is split, they start looking progressively more and more sad and start crying out. Before some context, the group of people seen in this video are the Lama Holot people. They are from Indonesia, they're native to a few of the islands out there, and this ceremony is known as Lawak Tapo, or the coconut splitting ceremony, where they split a coconut and use that to determine the cause of an unnatural death. Results of the splits do have to be inspected by a shaman to determine what the cause of death was, but generally speaking, if it's not a perfect split, it means that somebody sinned and that's why they died. And if it is a perfect split, it means that it was natural causes. So knowing that, this split right here probably meant the person died from some sort of personal wrongdoing, a sin, a curse, so that's why they're not very happy about it.
It's a prank. They got a doctor to wake him up and tell him, you're waking up from a 12-year coma.
You've been in a coma for the past 10 years. Well, all right.
One of their friends got arrested because they were driving drunk and they were passed out. Okay. Because they got into like an accident, hit like a sign
But they were
or whatever.
actually drunk.
Yeah, they were drunk driving. So what they did, since he was so knocked out, they put him in a hospital, like simulated hospital room.
Okay.
They got a doctor to wake him up and tell him, you're waking up from a 12-year coma.
Can you hear me? You're in the hospital. You're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine.
Wow. Look at you.
You just woke up. And he's like, what? What happened?
Some time ago, you decided you was drinking. You was out drinking, and you decided to drive, and there was an accident. This accident took place back in 2013. Ms. McKay, this is 2023. You've been in a coma for the past 10 years. Well, all right. They've been contacted. They're on their way. But you're going to be taken care of. You're going to be all right. Make sure, let me check on my colleague. Make sure he's in here. He's going to help you better make a transition from where you've been to where you need to be. It's all right. Just try to relax.
And then another doctor came in and started slapping your face. That's why you don't drink and drive. That's why you don't drink and drive.
Close your eyes. You feel this? You feel that?
A little bit.
Feel that? Feel that? Feel that? All right. You feel that?
Yeah.
See, yeah. Feel that? You feel that? Yeah. Dude, look. Yeah, 5 DUIs. 5 DUIs.
5 DUIs is crazy. This is why we don't drink and drive, guys.
The men that worked in the boiler room were actually the real heroes of the Titanic. In the movie, the Titanic gets hit by the iceberg and the crew members try to seal up these watertight doors in order to contain the flooding. If they seal them up, then they won't spill over like this picture. Everyone would have been safe because in their minds, the flooding wouldn't have spread. We see everyone trying to survive and get safely on the other side, and then not everybody gets there. Then the movie goes on and the ship sinks, and when the ship sinks, it is believed that the lights flickered and then they went out. People then said that the movie wasn't accurate to what it would have looked like in real life, and it would have looked more like this where it was sinking in the dark. But a new discovery was made that proves that neither of these things might be true. They recently did the creepiest 3D scan of the ship that changes everything. And from this, they were able to make a model of it. People thought that when the iceberg hit, it tore really big holes, but in reality, it was more like tiny scrapes. This is another photo from the scan. See that the window's kind of broken? People think that the iceberg scraped it. The amount of time that it took for the iceberg to scrape it was also shorter than people thought. It was 6.3 seconds. Now this is the big picture that changes everything. This is a scan of the boiler room, and if you look at it, you can notice that there was a steam valve left open while the ship was going down, meaning somebody was still working down there even when the ship went under. And before this picture, nobody thought that was the case. And this picture means that the generators were likely still running, so the lights were on much longer than people originally thought. So while many of the crew members were trapped, others stayed behind deliberately trying to keep the power on to help the people on the ship escape. You know, people were upstairs trying to navigate the decks and they needed light so they could safely get to their lifeboats. I also thought this picture was insane. I never think about the Titanic on the ocean floor like this. Like, we only see the top of the ship. They also hoped that if the ship stayed illuminated longer, it would be visible to the ships nearby, like the Californian or the Carpathia, and it would be easier to signal for help. On top of this, them having power meant that they were able to send distress signals for longer. So these brave men that worked in the boiler room stayed alive longer, knowing they were not going to survive, to try to help others at least be seen or survive, and they are the true heroes of the Titanic. Follow for more.
Speaking of curses, bro, the Red Ranger from Wild Force, the Power Rangers version of that.
Yeah, I do remember that one.
It was this guy named Ricardo Medina. One day, him and his roommate got into an argument. He pulls out a samurai sword. His roommate. Whoa. Yes, outside of his apartment. And he got only 6 years in prison for it.
What?
And this happened in 2015.
Yo.
Yes. Dude, this list goes so deep. Jason David Frank, what recently happened with him
that's Tommy.
Yeah, in 2022. Because he was going through like a lot of hardships in his life and life just got the better of him. Also, another Red Ranger from Ninja Force, which was one of my favorite Power Ranger series, ended up abusing his wife at the time. Something crazy, like he was beating her up and all this other shit. It got to the point where media ended up picking up the story. It goes viral because he was getting canceled at the time. This was 2018.
Damn. Whoa. Wasn't Tommy also a Red Ranger at one point?
Yes, Tommy was also a Red Ranger.
So
I know, it's like almost the curse of the Red Ranger.
No,
yes.
for reals.
Yes, it's very strange. But the next one is actually about the original Yellow Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, from the OG one.
From the OG, yes. When she was 27 years old, she ended up getting into a crazy ass car accident that ended her life in 2001. Yeah. I'm not done though, bro.
There's more.
There is more, dude. This is the one that blew my mind. There was this little boy who was an extra on the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and his name was Skylar DeLeon. One day, he lured this couple onto a yacht and
the little boy.
Yes, but he was older at this time. He was a little bit older.
When he got older.
Like, when he got older. Yeah.
Wow. Bro.
And he got like 20 years in prison or something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Tonight, terrifying moments playing out close to 205 feet in the air after riders say a child's seatbelt became unlatched on the Mamba roller coaster in Kansas City, Missouri, captured in this photo.
The first drop halfway through the hill, I'm sorry, this is really emotional because this little girl,
The scream that she screamed, I've never heard anything like that before in my entire life.
Cassie and Chris Evans say they were riding the Mamba at the Worlds of Fun theme park earlier this month when they heard the young girl's screams.
Then she said, my seatbelt came off. There was this big of a gap between her and the lap bar.
The Mamba, the park's tallest roller coaster, reaching speeds of 75 miles per hour. The two quickly clutching both the girl and her friend until the end of the 3-minute ride. Afterward, reporting the incident to a ride attendant. According to the Missouri Department of Public Safety, more than 20 lap belts were not functioning properly when inspected that morning.
This photo was taken at Disneyland in 1980. If you look in the far right-hand corner, that's a little girl named Donna. She was 5 years old in this photo, and this photo was taken by her mom while they were on vacation. 22 years after this photo was taken, she is going through her family photo album with her fiance, Alex, and they come across this photo. They're about to flip the page, and then Alex says, "Wait a minute, that's me." And Donna says, "What do you mean? The guy in the costume? This is you?" He's like, "No." He says, "This is me in the back in the stroller. That's my dad, and that's him pushing me in my stroller on our vacation." The crazy thing is they lived in Canada at the time, and Donna and her family lived in Florida. So they lived in two completely different countries, and they both happened to be visiting Disneyland at the same time. So they're both in shock and in disbelief, and they even go to Alex's home, get his family photo book, go through the photos of that vacation, and sure enough, they see him, his dad in the stroller. Dad's wearing the same outfit. It's 100% confirmed. So more than 15 years after they met as adults, nowhere near this location, they were both at Disney at the same time, within a few feet of each other. And then they would go on to meet as adults, get engaged. They have kids of their own. They're married now. But man, you want to talk about coincidences? I don't believe so. This was a fascinating story to me.
There's this 23-year-old kid named Rafael Perez, and he's out of this airport in Chimalacán, Mexico. And this kid, he's gonna fly on his own for the first time. So he takes off at 9:15 a.m. And right away he notices that it's very foggy. So he really has not really a good sense of where he is. He can't quite find the airport. And so he tries calling in with a radio. He doesn't really hear back from them. It's sort of garbled static. So he takes the yoke and he tries to bank the airplane left, but the airplane doesn't go left. It just continues flying in a straight line. The plane begins to climb, and he's not making the plane climb. The plane is climbing on its own. There was like this huge cloud that he was basically flying into. He can't see anything, and he passes out. He wakes up in the cockpit, has no idea how long he's been asleep for, but he's immediately shocked that, holy cow, I did not crash the plane. He also looks out the window, and there's no more mist or fog. It's actually just the open ocean underneath him. And he looks at his clock, and it says 11:30. Took off at 9:15. It's below 3 hours. The amount of time that has transpired that apparently I was asleep for is not enough time for me to arrive over any body of water. In addition to that, he looks at his gas gauge, and it's at 3/4 tank. And he knew that not only is that way too high, but he wouldn't have had enough gas to reach any water body. And as he's coming to like, what's happening here, somebody chimes in over the radio and goes, hey, are you there? And he grabs his radio and he's like, hey, I fell asleep in my plane. I don't know where I am. And the guy on the other end, he's like, hey, this is Carlos. Are you alone in your airplane? And Rafael's like, of course I'm alone. Where am I? And Carlos is like, listen, you're just off the coast of Acapulco, and for the last hour, you've been flying out over the water. He arrived off the coast of Acapulco now an hour earlier. It takes 3 hours to get there. He apparently did it in about an hour and 15 minutes. He lands at the airport in Acapulco, and as soon as he gets off, there's these people in suits that are there to meet him, and they immediately take him, and they drive him to a hospital. They drug test him. He's not on drugs, and they also have a psychologist come in, and they give him a profile, make sure he's sane, and she determines that he is. And so finally they say, okay, we're gonna tell you what happened. When you showed up off the coast of Acapulco, you showed up on the radar screen of who you were talking to. And he talked to you for an hour while you were out over the water, and it was recorded. And I'm gonna read to you the first thing that Rafael said to Carlos. The pilot is speaking, but not of his own free will. We are using him as a microphone. Your equipment is too primitive. It is not important who we are or where we come from, only that we are inhabitants of the same universe. For the next 30 to 45 minutes, The voice being projected through Raphael talked about humanity is the only intelligent species in the entire universe that uses warfare and conducts violence on each other, and you are poised for a nuclear holocaust, and you may be exterminated if this continues. And then at about 11:30, Raphael wakes up. No one has any idea how Raphael wound up over the coast, and the Mexican government quickly took this story, buried it, and now you can only access it in this obscure library in Mexico.
That's cap, because Mr. Ballin just told us about it, so it's definitely not classified whatsoever. But in my opinion, I think those aliens are right. Like, we are definitely due for a nuclear holocaust, and we definitely are on the brink of extinction if we do get to that nuclear holocaust.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret. Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code? I wish there were something secret I could manifest. 322, secret number? There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction that he's taking the country. We can do a better job, and I intend to do it.
Tim Russert, the moderator of Meet the Press and NBC's Washington bureau chief, collapsed and died early this afternoon.
Bro was asking too many questions. They went and got him out the way. That's great.
Check this out. They walk into a play. Ever wondered why milk and bread are always way at the back of the store? This tactic is designed to increase the likelihood of impulse purchases along the way. Since milk is a staple item, putting it at the back ensures that shoppers will pass by various other products, which means more impulse buys. That's also why some of the best deals are typically way at the back. Now, once they get you in the central section of the store, this is when they make the real money off of you. At the beginning of the video, I told you grocery stores are in the real estate business. This is what I mean. 50 to 75% of grocery stores' profit is from slotting fees. Food companies and brands spend a tremendous amount of money to place their products at a certain location inside stores shoppers typically encounter.
Who says North Korea doesn't have an election and vote system?
Oh, it's... I want to throw this laptop and just like... Who said North Korea doesn't have election and vote system? Yes, they do. And you have to vote, otherwise you're gonna be persecuted as a traitor.
Can you watch it from the beginning to the end without stopping it?
Yeah.
It's short.
Who says North Korea doesn't have an election and vote system?
Oh, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, like, join it or something.
What happens if you vote for someone besides Kim Jong-un?
I bet if you just turn in blank piece of paper, nobody would check it. Because they don't need to. Because why would you? I mean, Kim Jong-un has the power to rule them all. Showing up is what's most important, right? If you don't show up, then that's when you actually get punished.
Please just stay home next time. Please just stay home. If you're 25 and you're thinking about coming to Disneyland, folks, it is after dark, and that means I can say what I want to say. Disney adults are genuinely weird. I'm talking about you guys. There's no kids on this cruise. Why are you here? This isn't on the script. This isn't part of the bit. I genuinely think you guys are weird for being on this cruise. At least when kids are riding, they laugh. You guys just sit there on your photo that you paid $500 to be here today. And you don't even have a good excuse for doing it because you're all at least 20. What the hell is that? Go to a club, go to a party, or stay inside. Don't bring the vibe down on my cruise. It's weird. Mickey Mouse isn't your friend. Trust me, I know. He's my boss. He bleeds me like a vampire. The magic of this place should have worn off for you guys when you reached the age of 12. And now I just gotta deal with your goofy asses ruining of engaging with the act. So I'm seriously pleading with...
There's a part of me that feels like that was a voice overlay and he really did not say none of that. Because I'm looking at it, I'm just like, dude, I've never been to Disney, ever. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my 20s. If I go when I'm 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, why does it matter? Like, why does it matter? Like, what if I just wanted to go there with, like, a girl or something? Like, No, I can't though because I'm not 12. Shaking my head.
Ago, a video starts going viral of a man named Michael who states that he was booked into the MDC Brooklyn facility and he was placed in the same unit as Luigi Mangione. Michael said that Luigi is very nice. He introduces himself. Michael shakes his hand and says, "Yo, it's an honor to meet you." But here's where it's fascinating. Michael says he was asking Luigi of like, "Oh my God, like, are you being treated like a hero in here?" Because that's what people were saying outside. They're like, "Oh, when Luigi goes to prison, at least he will be treated like a hero." That's what a lot of his supporters were saying, or they hope that the inmates are treating him well. They hope that he's maybe higher on the jail hierarchy. And Luigi states that Michael is actually one of the very few people that even, well, Luigi allegedly states that Michael is one of the few people that even knew him coming into this unit. So Michael is like, "What are you talking about? Everyone knows you. Like, your face is a model for Shein." He didn't say that, but you get the vibe. He's like, "What do you mean?" So it is explained that MDC is kind of like a transition jail, meaning people are coming in and out of court hearings from other facilities, and they have not been out in a very long time. So these people, they haven't been keeping up with the news. They haven't been free for a very long time, so they don't really know what's happening. Or these people are fighting their own federal cases and they don't really care. And so lots of people that support Luigi Mangione have been just flooding Michael in the comments, asking him, how's he doing? Is he working in jail? What does he spend his time doing? And which he says that he spends most of his time, like, he always just has like a giant stack of letters next to him, and all day he's just responding to letters. That's pretty much all he does. And he's working in the jail, so he cleans the showers every morning. A lot of netizens, when this video goes viral, their initial confusion was exactly what you expect from the internet, because Michael is young and one would say conventionally attractive. And so all of the comments are writing, "Is this the bad bitch cell block? What's happening?" Other comments are saying, "MDC got a dating app we should be downloading," or others are saying, "What is MDC? Hot guy jail?" People are saying it's 2 for 2, but lest we forget, SBF, Diddy are also held at MDC, so I don't know what you have to say about that. But a lot of people were making a lot of jokes about this.
So most of the comments are worried about the bird, but he's fine. The snake's in trouble though. Meet the Roadrunner. Aside from being Wile E. Coyote's lifetime bully, they're also highly skilled predators. And let me tell ya, they are not picky eaters. They'll eat other birds, small rabbits, squirrels, mice, amphibians, tarantulas, scorpions, or their personal favorite, danger noodles. And not like the regular danger noodles, I'm talking about the spicy ones. Venomous. Oh, and by the way, on a side note, they have no immunity to venom. I aspire to be that brave. But then again, they're literally considered to be snake hunting specialists. First off, they're fast, which you already know that. 26 miles an hour to be exact. They also have a fast reaction speed, about the same as a cat. Cats basically teleport. Makes it nearly impossible for the snake to catch them. But when they catch the snake, they have the natural instinct to grab it by the head and whip that poor soul against everything they can find. It's vicious. Moral of the story, Roadrunner is not who you thought he was. Otherwise, that wouldn't have been a kid show. And as always, follow for more facts.
Dude, he is not lying. If you've ever seen a cat fight, it damn near looks like a Dragon Ball Z episode.
There's really not much you can do in this situation besides hope and pray that you do not become dinner. The video that you guys just watched shows a man that scaled a tree, his bike is down here, and in the background we can hear a very unsettling roar. The camera then gets pointed into the shrubbery below, and right here, just barely visible, we can see a tiger. For context, the guy that uploaded this video is a Malaysian content creator, and he's pretty well known for doing things like supernatural exploration, so a lot of people aren't too sure if this is real. But the claim here is that he was stranded in this tree for hours while the lion was below him, presumably looking for him. There's no way of knowing for sure without the creator, Fahad, coming out and stating whether or not this is real or fake, but I do believe that this is probably more than likely fake, because if the tiger was really trying to get him, they are excellent climbers and it would have had no problem scaling up and nabbing him. Also, given the fact that this guy is an actual content creator, it seems kind of unbelievable that he would find himself in this situation that just perfectly goes along with something that he would post about. A lot of people think that the tiger might be a prop because it's briefly shown in the video and it doesn't appear to be moving, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.
learn that me he cannot slay. Year after year he burned me in this grove, lifting your puny shouts of triumph to the stars. But when again he turned your faces to the marketplace, do ye not find me waiting as of old? Fools! Fools! Fools to dream ye conquer care!
I'm not gonna lie, that's like an average night on Epstein Island.
A dad and his son went missing just randomly for 11 days.
Detroit police confirmed that investigators saw no signs of the boy after searching the home 4 times.
They were on CNN live news, and this is the biggest plot twist. The reporter, she was like, Justin, we found your son.
Charlie, we're getting reports that your son has been found in your basement.
What? Like, you know, like when men try to hush? Wait, they're not supposed to find him. And then,
sir?
Oh shit.
Wait. No, he was still living downstairs. Like, yeah. Why did he do that though? I think he just like didn't like his son and he wanted to trap him downstairs.
Oh, God, they brought dogs, everything. Everybody is searched. What? Oh, God, my son. For anybody to imply that I somehow knew that my son was in the basement, it's absurd and it's wrong. I love my son. I'm glad that he's home. Man, they thought my son was dead, man. Look.
Don't be acting.
Oh, my God.
You know that meme?
Oh, my God. Wow.
Yo, someone should get that guy an Oscar. You see how he had the tears in his eyes? Like, that was really good acting, I'm not gonna lie.
Never stand underneath Corey Stones.
Call me crazy, call me a doubter, but I don't believe this guy is holding up this large rock. It's just simply not possible. Okay, I'll drop the sarcasm, but this is another TikTok video that I got tagged in that's really interesting to look at first. It shows this guy standing underneath this wedge cut, acting like he's holding up this large rock. And this video feels super surreal. The proportions are crazy, the angles are nuts, it makes you feel like you're an ant. Now, provided that the original video I got tagged in is not AI, the first thing my mind goes to is that it's more than likely a rock quarry. Specifically, I think more than likely it's a large granite quarry. When they cut granite, they usually do it in these square shapes. They make sure that everything is really uniform. And looking at how this is set up and cut, more than likely they're going to be getting rid of this large piece here and using it as a construction material, like countertops, landscaping, statues, etc. You guys get the point. For those worried about this guy getting crushed, he is not at risk of that happening. This whole entire thing is connected here, and it's not just going to slough off the side of the other wall.
This girl, Patricia Stalling, was wrongfully convicted of murdering her own son because of her DNA.
What?
I know it sounds weird, but just listen to this. In 1989, this woman, Patricia, took her son Ryan to the hospital because he was feeling a little sick. He was throwing up and everything. While he was at the hospital, doctors noticed something in this kid's blood that was almost like he's gotten poisoned by something. His mom comes to visit him one day, literally like a couple of days after his mom visited him, the little boy dies. The doctors go and check, and it's almost he's been poisoned by antifreeze.
What?
That's what the doctors come to the conclusion of. That he has some type of chemical in him that is the same chemical that's found in antifreeze. They arrest his mom, send her to jail.
Whoa,
because they claim that she poisoned her baby with antifreeze. So she's in jail for like a couple years. In 1991, while she's in jail, she gets pregnant again. She then gives birth to her next son. His name was David. Right after she gives birth to him, they didn't take her baby away, like right away. And they put the baby in foster care. So mind you, this baby has had no contact with his mother at all. He gets sick after a couple months after he's born. The same sickness that his brother.
While she's locked up.
While she's locked up. So there's no way that she could poison him with antifreeze.
Yeah.
A biologist who works at some university heard about the story. So he ends up getting blood from Ryan, the kid who died at first, and compares it to the blood of David, the new kid who's sick as well.
Yeah.
He finds that there is this weird chemical that's inside both of their blood that same chemical is inside the mother, Patricia.
Whoa.
It's just something that her body naturally produces. After all this comes out, they release her from jail after being in there for like 2-3 years.
Whoa, bro. That is so crazy. Shout out to that biologist, though.
Nah, for real.
Shout out to bro for even caring about the case and thinking like,
bro.
you know, maybe I should try to see what's good with this because that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if they wrongly convict you like that, you should be able to sue or something, right? Like, I'm not too sure. Hopefully she got some sort of like compensation for that, because 2 to 3 years is still a lot of time gone, dude.
I have another game that might freak you out. What? It was named the most dangerous one to play with your friends. Why? It's called the Cup Game. It's like a Mexican Ouija board. Records where 5 teens from Argentina did this in 2015, and all of them their own life after doing this ritual. Damn. Yeah. They tried to get like police involved in the case, right? Yeah. The priest, Lily said, it wasn't no like mental thing. It was just because they played that game. All you need to play the game, one piece of paper, yes or no, like a bootleg Ouija board. Yeah. Except with a glass cup, right? Hands on it, say something, and then the glass cup would move on its own towards yes, no, or like any letters, or it's supposed to start spelling it. There was a video of these 3 girls. And they didn't bag that it moved first. Look, they're all arguing. Yeah. They walk away because they're not taking it serious. Let's start off correct and stuff like that. Let's continue. Let's go. Ooh! Yeah. So they kept doing. You see the back? When you step back? Yeah. They keep moving it, right? Yeah. Hey, it's moving. Dummy, I'm not lying. So, but watch. Hold on. The curtain is moving. Ooh!
Man, I don't know. I feel like that video was low-key kind of fake.
So if you have any doubt about these ice cream truck stories, this next story will have you saying to yourself, what the heck is going on? So a creator on this app went to get gas after work. It was late at night. The gas station was about as empty as it can get, as you would expect. And an ice cream truck popped up and parked right next to her. Meanwhile, there are a ton of other open pumps. Take a look at this video.
I get off work, there's nobody else, right? Every slot is open. Tell me why this damn ice cream truck gets gas right freaking beside me. In every slot, even every single one behind me is open.
Now the question that you should be asking, just like everybody else is asking, look at all of those open pumps right behind her. But yet, the ice cream truck pulls up right behind her and is not even getting gas, just sitting there with the ice cream music playing. With all of these missing children being reported in Virginia, this video was recorded in Virginia. Now, the crazy part about it is, once she posted this video, she didn't post for a few days, leaving people that follow her account assuming that she was abducted by the ice cream truck. So once again, my question to you is, with all of the crazy stuff that's been going on in Virginia, what is going on in this video? Why is this ice cream truck sitting directly behind her as she's getting gas? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
I mean, obviously I'm going to swim in this for $1 million. It doesn't really matter how claustrophobic I am. This is an older video posted to TikTok that shows this guy opening up this tank containing water. The question is posed whether or not you could swim in this, and while this is kind of an interesting hypothetical, there was something that more people were fixated on than how creepy this was. It's the fact that there are no baffins inside of this tank. Now, I'll be honest with you right out of the gate, this information I'm about to tell you is not going to be useful at all unless you drive these tanks. But basically, if you've ever wondered what the inside of a truck tank that holds liquid looks like, it looks like this most of the time. You have these things known as baffins that prevent the liquid inside from sloshing back and forth too much and making the trailer unstable. The tank this guy was showing in this video is known as a smoothbore tank, and these are usually used for goods that people consume, like milk. That way it's easier to clean and it's more sanitary. Again, I'm sorry guys, this information was probably super random, but it's something that I thought was pretty interesting.
Her body was found the next day, and the case shocked the entire country. Investigators discovered that the boy Christine had been talking to never existed. The online account was fake, created to lure her into a trap. Multiple suspects were questioned, including people close to Christine, and while arrests were made, the full truth about who exactly planned and carried out the murder still raises questions to this day.
Things that us humans weren't meant to see. The first motion picture ever recorded, 1888. You can see a few people dancing around in a garden as they became the first humans ever caught moving on film. This clip is the oldest ever moment of living people captured in real time and was only a few seconds long, but it changed everything. The underwater nuclear explosion, 1946. You can see a terrifying column of water shooting hundreds of feet into the sky as the bomb detonated beneath the ocean. Ships nearby were instantly crushed and swallowed by the deadly shockwave. The water boiled and exploded, creating a monstrous bubble of radioactive steam. The oldest ever photograph of a tornado, taken on April 26, 1884. You are looking at a storm how it looked in real time 141 years ago. The very first photograph ever taken in history, taken in 1826, this photograph is the furthest back we will ever be able to see, showing us a snapshot from almost 200 years ago. It was recently restored by using artificial intelligence, and this was the result.
Bro, the fish that were close to that nuclear bomb underwater, they literally got evaporated. RIP any creature that was in that area that day.
Brain glitches iceberg. First up, we got deja vu. This is just the haunting sense that you've lived that exact moment before. Sleep paralysis. This is just whenever you're fully awake but you can't move. It's like your brain wakes up before your body does and you're kind of stuck between sleep and awake. Sometimes people experience hallucinations during this and they often misinterpret this for like paranormal events. Frequency illusion. This is whenever you learn something new and then you just see it everywhere. Scientists think this is caused by selective attention and cognitive biases. Doorway effect. This is whenever you walk through a doorway or into another room and then you completely forget what you're doing. So this has actually been studied through scientific experiments, and while they're not completely sure the reason for this exactly, the studies that they have done have made them think this is some sort of primitive survival mechanism where your brain basically wipes the memory you just had so that you stay alert to new predators in the new environment that you just entered. Jamais vu. So this is the opposite of deja vu. This is whenever familiar things suddenly feel alien. This is often triggered by repetition or fatigue, like writing a word over and over again until it looks wrong. Ideomotor effect. So this is whenever your body moves without you realizing it because of a thought or expectation. Examples of this are like whenever people play with Ouija boards, or whenever people do things like the dowsing rod, which is where people take like sticks or pieces of wire and then they try to use them to find things like water underneath the ground. But in reality, your brain is causing involuntary muscle responses that are caused by some sort of outcome that you want to happen. Presque vu. So this is a phenomenon where you feel like you're just about to remember something, but then you don't. As if you're about to have some sort of huge realization or memory or breakthrough, but for some reason you never fully remember it. As if there is a memory loading screen that is frozen at 99%. Paris syndrome. So this is a phenomenon where tourists, overwhelmingly Japanese tourists, visit Paris and have such a high expectation for it that when they get there, they are so disappointed that they get physically sick and they feel dizzy and sometimes they throw up. And they can even experience things like delusion or even hallucinations. And basically, people go to Paris and it's so bad that they freak out. This kind of goes to show that emotions truly can affect you physically, and that's kind of crazy. And anyways, I love my brain.
Bro, who's going to Paris then getting disappointed and physically feeling ill? That is insane, dude.
Will be the first ever recorded on videotape. A tape that shows Maurice's face changing from this to this. Theo's skin seems to bubble. A deep crack has opened on his forehead.
There's a split on the left side of the head, which widens, opens up. The eyes look like a serpent.
How many are you?
All of a sudden, his eyes rolled up in his head, and his head went down. He collapsed, and within a few minutes, he came to.
Found out their kid, he was a wanted killer.
Wanted? Okay.
Did you hear about the Brandon Rissinger case?
Oh,
so
shit.
This guy, he was best friends with this kid since they were like elementary school. One night they went out and his friend, he's a lightweight when it comes to drinking.
Oh, okay.
So he can't handle his alcohol. This is what he told police. They drank a lot, and he said this, red wine. And that's for later because his plan, it needed that information. What he told police was when he drank that red wine, went upstairs, throwing up, and got over the floor. So red wine on the floor. He ended up going to sleep, and when he woke up, he was gone, and the car was gone. They ended up finding his car in a ditch.
Where was he?
They couldn't find him. So the police are at his house investigating and asking him all these questions. The police go upstairs and they're trying to look for evidence and clues like where this guy could have went. And they try to go into the room that the victim was staying in. The door was locked. So he let the police into the room, and right away, on the floor,
wide, man.
you could see red stains. And they saw there's like powder on top trying to clean it. Now, it's not red because of the wine.
Why is it red?
It's because it was blood, bro. Oh. It's blood this whole time.
What?
So police are like, yo, this is something serious. We have the kid literally right here in the house, and we need backhoe. They go to confront him. And bro runs out the crib, hops fences, runs away. Gone. So this what happened. The father of that kid.
This woman named Ellie Lobel, she came down with this mysterious illness. Doctors didn't even know what the illness was. She was just like fatigued for years and years. She just always felt terrible, and it started affecting her career. And then actually she got this like horrible divorce with her husband. And so she decided, enough is enough, it's time for me to die. So she actually hired an end-of-life care person because doctors had told her that your organs are actually starting to shut down. And frankly, if you were to kind of mentally let go, there's a pretty good chance your body would shut down. So she thought, I'll go to an Airbnb in a beautiful part of California, and I will literally just stay in the house until I die. For 3 days, she laid in that bed and she didn't die. And she decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go take a quick walk and then come back and die. And they're walking down the sidewalk, and on their side is this beautiful field of flowers. But as she's staring at this field, she begins to hear a buzzing sound. And she looks above her and she sees there's a bee over her head. This bee was an African killer bee, and it came down and began stinging her. And a whole swarm came over to Ellie, and they stung her over, and hundreds of times. And so Ellie, now she's thinking, I'm gonna die. It's whatever's going on with me or the bee stings. But 3 more days go by, and she doesn't die. And in fact, she actually begins to feel better for the first time in like 15 years. She's like, what's going on here? Well, it turns out right before Ellie got sick, she had gone out for a hike, and she had noticed she had this little mark on the inside of her thigh. She figured it was a bug bite, didn't think much of it, but it turned out she got bit by a tick that had Lyme disease. And when they bite you, they leave a very distinctive mark. It looks like a bullseye. And it stood out to her at the time that she had this kind of bullseye-looking mark on her leg, but she just didn't put it together. It would turn out she had Lyme disease. That was the thing that was affecting her for those 15 years, and she does some research about bee stings. And she discovered an obscure study done in the 1990s in Australia about the toxin in African killer bees and its effects on Lyme disease patients. And they made this hypothesis that a certain amount of bee stings from African killer bees, in theory, could cure Lyme disease, but it was an unethical study, and they couldn't do it because it would involve swarming killer bees on a critically ill Lyme disease patient. But Ellie Lobel unintentionally conducted the experiment on herself, and it completely cured her Lyme disease. 100% healthy now. She tours the world talking about the positive effects of getting stung by bees. Dude, crazy, right?
Yeah, that was definitely God, bro. I'll be honest, because sometimes I'll be walking and there'll be bees or wasps, and they generally don't bother me. That also reminds me of how they say that certain types of snake venom can actually also kill cancer.
In the moonlight. Way down along the street, how sweet it would seem once more just to dream in the silvery moonlight. My honey, I know with the dawn that you will be gone, but tonight you belong to me, just a little old me.
Did you know Subway Surfers isn't just a game?
It's said to be the story of a boy whose life ended too soon. The legend begins with Jake, a free spirit who loved skateboarding, graffiti, and adventure. He spent his days spraying colorful art, running through train yards, and living with endless energy. But one night, tragedy struck. While painting on a train, Jake slipped onto the tracks, and in an instant, he was gone. His father was shattered. To cope with the loss, he created Subway Surfers as a tribute, a world where Jake could keep running forever, spray can in hand, alive and free. But here's the detail most overlook. The guard in the game isn't a villain. In the story, he was a man who saw Jake that night, chasing only to save him. Sadly, he couldn't reach him in time. Every run in Subway Surfers isn't just gameplay. It's a father keeping his son's spirit alive. So the question is, when you play, are you escaping for fun or reliving Jake's final moments?
2004, a college student named Maura Murray was driving through a remote forested area when her car suddenly slid into a snowbank. Stranded, she got out and called a tow truck. While waiting, she heard unsettling noises coming from the woods, but brushed them off, trying to stay calm. A few minutes go by when a passing motorcyclist stopped to offer assistance, but Maura declined, explaining that help was already on the way. Concerned for her safety, the man still called the police. Before leaving, the man mentioned he had somewhere to be and wished her luck. 10 minutes later, when officers arrived, they found her car abandoned, but Maura had vanished without a trace. Despite an extensive search, no sign of her was ever discovered. To this day, her disappearance remains an unsolved mystery, sparking countless theories. Some believe she was kidnapped, while others suggest she may have run away to start a new life. What do you think happened to Maura?
I'm not gonna lie, I think she definitely got like swiped up.
You can't have that jet. I got it. Yeah. Let me make you real mad. Got 2 of them. Now that's only $1,200.
Yes.
Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 plus 1,000.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna work on the other 800.
Well, that ain't what I asked you to do.
How much money did you pay for Tyler Perry's Gulfstream jet, for example?
Well, for example, that's really none of your business. But there's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the door.
Why do you need a $54 million private jet?
We're not doing any kind of interviews right now. I'm in the book.
I'd just like to know why you need keep your hands off me.
1,000 online to give this. If I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it.
You said that you don't like to fly commercial because you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
Now, this is who the real demon is. Now, do you guys see the common theme here? These people are the greatest con artists of all time. If you've been brainwashed to believe that God requires your paycheck, then I don't know what to tell you. You don't have a connection with God. And these people clearly don't give a flying F about any of you people. So you know, the working class that worship these people, that slave in their 9-to-5s all day and donate all their money, this is the houses that these pastors live in. How could you possibly see this and be okay with this and say, yeah, take my money in the name of God and Jesus Christ? Come on. By the way, all these multi-million-dollar estates that these pastors live on, they're all tax-free. It's so funny. Stop getting scammed by these people. Stop getting played by the system. This is not what God wants. Trust me. God actually lies within each and every one of us. It doesn't require you to give up your paycheck, you to go to some place to worship. It just requires you to look inwards. And this can happen anywhere with no money involved. Just keep that in mind. Peace and love.
Be closer with God definitely does not require to pay anybody any money. Like literally, you don't have to give a cent to anybody to be qualified in God's eyes.
This is a very bizarre story, so I'm going to try to break this down as best I can in 1 minute. This slideshow has 3 different images. The first one shows a medical professional by the name of Neil Hopper. The second image shows Neil Hopper, now clearly an amputee. And the final image shows his mugshot, which indicates a twist in this case. For context, back in 2019, Neil Hopper, a vascular surgeon, had his legs removed after allegedly having sepsis that came on immediately. Instead of this just being an unlucky break for Neil though, this was actually done on purpose by himself. It's thought that he placed his legs into dry ice so that they would freeze and die. This was for two reasons. Number one, insurance fraud, but number two, possibly more concerning, this was a fetishized thing for him. In 2023, Neil was arrested, and after quite some time, he was given 2 years, 8 months behind bars. Neil also states that he does not regret having his legs removed. However, he does regret being dishonest about why they were removed in the first place. Just a very odd story overall.
Nicki Minaj allegedly hired someone to keep her sober for the next week because she is set to do a speech for the UN about Christians in Nigeria. And we've discussed her alleged substance abuse habits in the past, and it looks like now she can't stop on her own. And the blind item reads, this foreign-born former A-plus list rapper apparently has someone assigned to her this week just to keep her sober long enough to deliver a major speech. And again, this is allegedly Nicki Minaj hiring someone to keep her sober for her UN speech. And the related headline reads, Nicki Minaj to spotlight plight of Nigerian Christians in UN speech arranged by White House. The rapper is set to give a speech on Tuesday after supporting Trump's post condemning Nigerian government. The rapper will work with the White House to highlight claims of Christian persecution in Nigeria. She plans to give a speech at the United Nations headquarters in New York on Tuesday, according to a Time journalist who first posted about the collaboration on Sunday. And the speech was arranged by an advisor to Donald Trump. What do you guys think? Is there any truth to this? Comment below and follow me for more celebrity tea.
Nicki did end up doing a speech at the UN, and a lot of people had to criticize it. Like, I heard a lot of people were actually actively hating on it. And I'm gonna put it in towards the end of what I'm about to say. I feel like Nicki Minaj the type of girl to have someone tell her, like, yo, every time I want to do something, just make me stop, okay? Then they actively try to help her and tell her, like, yo, stop, you don't need it, you can do this. And then she gets actively mad at them and start cursing them out and firing them and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. I know way too many people like that.
Barbs, I know you're somewhere listening. I love you so very much. You have been the ultimate light in my life and career for so long. I appreciate you, and I want to make it very clear once again that this isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion, like I recently stated on social media. And we don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other.
Thank you all for watching this here video.
Do you know there was a cat that actually worked for the CIA? In the 1960s during the Cold War, the CIA needed a way to spy on the Soviets in a public space without raising suspicion, coming up with the idea to use a cat to listen in on the Soviets. To do this, they attached a tiny microphone inside of the cat's ear, then running a wire through the inside of the cat's body into its tail where the transmitter was located, and even trained it to walk by near the correct people. And after 5 years of development and $20 million spent, it was time to put this cat to work, officially naming the operation Acoustic Kitty. During midday Washington, D.C., the first mission took place, where two Soviets were having a conversation. The CIA would then drop off the cat, letting it casually walk over to the targets to listen in. But as the cat made its way over, everything would go horribly wrong. The cat tried crossing the street, where a taxi would unfortunately run her over, failing its first ever mission.
You ever wonder what's really in these things? Come on, step inside and see for yourself. This ain't cheese, baby. This is yellow 6, red 40, maltodextrin, MSG, basically a science experiment. They blow this powder all over everything. You're breathing it, eating it. It's basically in your bloodstream. Oh yeah, we fry every batch in the same oil. Adds flavor, right? This stuff? This isn't seasoning. It's straight up radioactive fairy dust. But hey, You don't care, right? Long as it tastes good. Cheetos. Taste the chemicals.
Today we're reporting live in front of the biggest dump in America, and we are exposing them with no mercy. From occultic symbolism found in the McDonald's logo to a 33rd degree Freemason as their founder, all the way to children's teeth and literal human flesh in their food. We are covering it all today, folks, so stay tuned for the rest of this video. First, we're going to talk about the McDonald's logo and how it's actually a black magic sigil from a book, specifically this book of witchcraft and Satanism. You see, the legend is that McDonald's was founded by Freemasons and built on a satanic foundation, as you can see with these two former CEOs throwing up the devil horns very publicly. Not only that, but McDonald's and their logo also represents the Ark of Baal. The Ark of Baal was an ancient demonic monument in Syria that got destroyed and for some reason rebuilt in New York. And Baal is the demonic god of child sacrifice in the Bible, and his ark represents demonic portals to different dimensions. So why does the original McDonald's logo not an M but an ark? Why in St. Louis do we have monuments glorifying Baal? And why do people always find human hair, human DNA, human body parts, human teeth in their McDonald's burgers and foods? All right? Keep in mind that Baal is the demonic god of child sacrifice. Watch this mother's testimony of what she found in her daughter's
I'm like sick to my stomach, okay? I've heard the rumors and I'm guilty of it, taking my kids to go eat at McDonald's, but today took my girls to go get their normal Happy Meals. She bit down one of her chicken nuggets and she says that, you know, she hurt her teeth. And I pulled this out. She pulls this out. She hands it to me, okay? And I'm freaking out. Baby, where's your tooth? What happened? How'd you lose a tooth? How did you lose a tooth in your chicken nuggets? It's not her tooth, y'all. This is not my baby's tooth. But this is a baby's tooth. This was someone's baby's tooth.
McDonald's serves 68 to 69 million people in a single day. When's the last time you drove by a cattle ranch and saw more than 1,000 cows? There's not enough beef in the entire world to serve the volume of people they do. So it really makes you wonder what they mean by billions and billions served. Do not defile your temple or your child's temple by eating the poison that this place calls food.
Every color tells a story of sickness, bad health, and obesity. Are you ready to wake up?
Pick your color. Pick your mood. Sugar and chemicals make fake food.
Your health will melt. Your mind will melt. It will consume you.
Taste it. Feel it. Be it. The color inside.
You're one of us now. It's in you now. We taste what you see.
Have you ever heard of the Blank Room soup video?
No.
This thing, I'm surprised you haven't. Been all over the internet for years. So this actually happened around 2005, and this channel on YouTube, so this is early YouTube,
wow,
decided to upload a video of this guy who is sitting down at a table and he's eating soup pretty much. This guy that's wearing like this big mascot costume almost, and it's like, it looks like a guy. Like it's just a mascot of a random guy.
Yeah.
He walks in the room and these two guys are both wearing the same costume, just standing there almost like watching him eat the soup. So people believe in this video, the guy that is sitting there, he was kidnapped by these two men who decided to dress up like this, and they decided to upload this YouTube video.
Really?
To be cryptid. Yeah, they wanted it to be this type of video where they were like, oh yeah, people aren't gonna know that we're really gonna do something to this guy.
Yeah.
There are two different theories. They're making him eat his wife, or they're making him eat his kids, which is in that soup.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a bunch of people that have speculated this for years, bro, since all the way back then.
And is there any evidence that points to that being
true?
True?
Yes, but I wouldn't be able to say all of the evidence right now that I remember. I'm just going based off of my memory. But there's a bunch of people that are going to be able to back this up from what I'm saying, because this has been a theory for years. There are other people that assume that this could just be the creator who wanted to do something artistic. That's what other people assume as well. That this is just like a horror artistic type of vision.
But it looks very disturbing.
But it looks very disturbing. So I wanted to just show you the video, and I want you to tell me how you see it.
Okay.
What the hell? You see the way he's eating it?
Yeah.
Sturdy brown sludge is what you eat every day. This food is linked to clogged arteries packed with high fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated fats, and stabilizers that rip through your gut and fuel inflammation. And some people actually feed this snack to their kids. I'm talking about Snickers, the so-called snack. I scanned one. The Exposure app flagged it as 80% fake ingredients. Comment app for the safe alternatives list.
21, two young couples were hanging out inside of a little home in the woods, Henderson County, North Carolina. The couples were Rachel and her fiance Chris, and their friends Autumn and Jake, whose home it was. Rachel and Autumn were in the kitchen preparing to dye Rachel's hair over the sink. Jake and Chris were in the living room discussing the very strange sightings of a black panther that had been reported all over town in recent days. North Carolina does have big cats, including panthers. However, the panthers in North Carolina are typically of the brownish color, not the pitch black variety. Chris was absolutely convinced that he had seen this black panther about a week ago when he was out walking his and Rachel's new puppy. He'd begun to carry a gun for protection. Jake was in the middle of telling Chris that he too was now carrying a gun around for the same reason when they were interrupted by Rachel calling for Chris from the kitchen, where Rachel told them that she'd been trying to show Autumn a YouTube video about how to dye hair at home when her phone had died. So she asked Chris if he wouldn't mind going back to their apartment and getting her a phone charger. And as Chris headed to the door to leave, Jake said, "Hold on a minute," grabbed his flashlight and grabbed his gun and told Chris he would tag along and watch his buddy's back. They both stayed absolutely quiet as they walked because they wanted to make sure they could hear any indication of this panther being nearby. Halfway down the path, Chris suddenly heard something coming from the woods. They both froze, and then Jake raised his flashlight and shined it at the underbrush where Chris was saying he had heard noise. All they saw were green leaves, and two eyes opened up and reflected back at them, and it was just a raccoon. Chris and Jake laughed in relief and then continued walking down the path to Chris's house. They went inside, got Rachel's charger, and then they left and stepped back into the woods. Something just felt different. It was now strangely quiet. They were about 40 feet away from Jake's house when they suddenly heard a twig snap to their left. They heard another sound, a low, raspy growl. Jake aimed his flashlight at the bush where these noises had come from, and this time it was obvious it was not a raccoon because the bushes were literally shaking like some enormous animal was inside of them. And so the two men drew their guns and they aimed it at the bush, hoping that this thing would just take off back into the woods, but it didn't. And so the men just opened fire, and they kept on shooting until they heard a new horrible sound. And the second they heard it, they dropped their guns. It would turn out, after Chris and Jake had left the house, Rachel and Autumn decided to pull a prank. They had found some expired eggs in the fridge, and they had decided they would go hide in the bushes near that pathway and pelt the guys with them. When Rachel saw Chris and Jake approaching, she tried to crouch down lower in the bush so as not to be seen, but as she did, she stepped on a twig. And at the same time, in anticipation of their prank, the women started to laugh. They tried to stifle their laughter, but that only made them snort and shake the bushes. So they drew their guns, and they began to until they heard Autumn scream out in horror. Tragically, by the time they had stopped shooting, it was already too late for Rachel. She had been shot to death. Law enforcement did an investigation into the shooting, and they declared it was just a horrible accident. Everybody was sober, and the two men were carrying their weapons legally. No one was ever charged with Rachel's death.
Honestly, it's kind of hard to say because that whole situation just seems so like avoidable in a sense, but at the same time it was just so innocent and just turned bad real quick.
You can obviously tell just based on the sounds this guy's making that he is not having a good time, and he's really not overreacting. This TikTok video that I got tagged in shows a worker inside of a factory inspecting this pipe and the connection right here. Out of nowhere, the pipe slips off, a bunch of fluid comes out and makes contact with him, and he starts rolling around on the ground and screaming in agony. Now, there currently are two theories surrounding this video. The first one is that the liquid that hit him was liquid nitrogen. However, I want to dispel that myth right now. Liquid nitrogen has gas coming off of it. It's very obvious. This does not have steam coming off of it at all, so more than likely this is scalding hot water. Scalding hot water honestly might be even worse, seeing as even at 160 degrees Fahrenheit, which is well below boiling point, it only takes half a second of exposure to give you second or third degree burns. And burns are one of the most painful things you can experience, so he's not overreacting. My recommendation in the future, if he chooses to keep this job, which I don't know why you would, is not to stand directly in front of a connection that you think is loose.
Anna Ross, did she groom Michael Jackson? This is the real story of what happened to the Supremes. This one actually breaks my heart, you guys, especially for Michael. I want y'all to consider this, that Diana knew Michael when he was a 9-year-old boy. Yes, 9 years old. And then later on ended up having sexual relationships with him and allegedly taking his virginity. He has come out and said that it was Diana Ross who was his first time. Very sad. And this happened when he was just a young boy as well. But yeah, whatever you guys' personal opinions are, this is just history. This is Black history, and if you're interested, make sure you guys go ahead and follow and like for more. And if you're interested in grabbing a copy of this book, Black AF History, The Unwhitewashed Story of America.
I don't know if it's just me, but for some reason, I do not believe that story whatsoever. I do not think that all that what she said happened. I mean, I don't know if it's just because, like, the way how she presented it, but I'm gonna have to low-key just do some research and just put it in the video, so...
I'll be the first to admit it, this is indeed an old video from 2023, but it's recently been going viral again, so I'm going to talk about it again. This clip shows a group on a helicopter tour at the Grand Canyon. You'll see this pilot makes a small adjustment to this lever. The passenger then attempts to reach up and pull the lever down. The pilot grabs her arm and tosses it away, then firmly reprimands her and tells her that it would kill them all. The reason why the helicopter pilot freaked out is because this lever is a rotor brake. The rotor brake is exactly what it sounds like. It prevents the rotors from spinning. Usually this is used after the engine is turned off and they're just trying to get the rotors to stop while they're grounded. Engaging this in flight is obviously a terrible idea. However, it wouldn't immediately stop the rotors and cause you to fall out of the sky. You have to push this switch to engage it, and even then it would take a lot of force to pull this down, far more than a person could exert. Either way, this is a horrible thing to do as a passenger, and I believe the pilot here is well within his rights to scare her a little bit.
Subscribe.
You're about to see something that's never been captured before on camera.
Rocks.
And it's that. Did you see that? Okay, let's run this back because I had to do that too. Look at this freaking fence post. Zoop!
Rocks.
The whole earth just moved to the right like 2 meters. Oh my God. This is a right lateral strike slip fault, and this occurred in Myanmar. Myanmar is in South Asia. I did know that the Indian plate is crashing into the Eurasian plate, and that makes the Himalayas. What I didn't know is that the tectonic boundary kind of curves around, and there's a place where it just goes like this rather than like this. This motion on a fault is called strike slip, and it can be left or right, and it actually doesn't depend on which side of the fault you're on. If you're standing in the field or the driveway, it would have looked like the other side went to the right. It blows my mind that this process that's been happening on Earth for 4 billion years has never been captured on camera. And it's important because while this video is breathtaking, an earthquake like this is extremely destructive and deadly. And understanding the fundamentals of this process, like it's a possibility that the rupture in this earthquake actually traveled faster than the seismic waves. This is such a basic observation that would be impossible to make.
19 may be a target of human trafficking. Number 4, you find money on the ground outside your car. So if you do this, it could be laced with drugs, fentanyl, anything that could render you unconscious. Yeah. Don't touch it, get in your car, get sick. No. Number 3, you find a zip tie on the door handle of your car.
Oh my gosh.
This might seem odd and you might want to like get it off or fix it right away. Don't do it. Same thing, get in your car, get to safety. If you touch it, it gives a trafficker time to get to you, or it may signal to other traffickers that this is a marked person.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Wow. Number 2, finding money on the windshield of your car. Similar to outside, you may get in your car and see the money and get back out of your car. Not the thing to do. Stay in your car, even if you see it on there when you've already gotten in. Drive to safety, safely get it off out.
Yeah. That's scary.
And then number 1 is being marked with a dot or a smidge of paint or chalk on your car. If you see your car marked with anything like that, just be safe, get to safety, drive to the police station. Don't take any chances. If you see any kind of mark, that could mean that you're marked as a vulnerable victim.
15, a man was asked by his neighbor to collect his mail while he was gone for a few weeks. A few days later, a large package arrives on his neighbor's front porch. The man can barely lift it, but gets over to his garage where he accidentally drops it and hears something break inside. Hoping his neighbor would think the damage occurred en route, he closes his squeaky garage door and forgets about it. But over the next couple of days, whatever was in that package started to smell so bad that he decides to open it up. Inside were 2 very important finds: his neighbor, who was dead, and a camera that was still recording. The police bring the man in for questioning and show him what was on the camera inside the box. It starts with his neighbor talking to the camera about how excited he is to mail himself home for his YouTube channel. Then, police fast forward to the very end where they see that the neighbor is now sleeping in the box, and then suddenly gets dropped and you hear a crack, and that's his neck breaking. And then you hear a squeaky garage door close.
Phrases we still use today that have dark origin stories. During the slave trade, when slaves were being transported across the Atlantic, they were crammed onto ships with hardly no space to move, chained side by side and lying in filth and disease. To the sailors on board, it became known as packed like sardines. During the medieval times in England, when someone was accused of witchcraft, they were thrown into rivers with their hands and legs tied. If they floated, they were guilty, and if they sank and drowned, they were innocent. This bizarre, unfair way of judging led to the phrase, damned if you do, damned if you don't. In the Victorian times, people's fear of being buried alive was so intense due to rumors of it happening a lot that coffins were built with bells attached. If someone woke up underground, they could ring the bell and signal for rescue, a terrifying thought that led to the phrase, saved by the bell. But there's more, because the workers who had to listen out for these bells at night were known to be working the graveyard shift. During the 1700s in the United Kingdom, a law was passed that allowed men to punish their wives with sticks no thicker than his thumb. This brutal idea was remembered, and eventually gave birth to the phrase, rule of thumb.
Yeah, we might already be dead. Great. This is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Stop it, mate. People have been freaking out on social media over the last 2 or 3 days about the news headlines of this butterfly-shaped hole opening on the sun. This does not sound good at all. It really doesn't, but let me explain. First of all, this didn't actually happen only 2 days ago. This actually happened early in September, so people just have brought it up now for some reason. Now, it is essentially a coronal hole, so it's kind of scary because it's going to fire out solar storms and things at Earth. It's not dangerous to us, but it could cause power outages and other things to be happening on Earth. It is scary, though, when you think about how big it is. 35 times the size of that. Insane. And obviously that could fire some pretty nasty things and solar wind towards Earth because it's coming in our direction. But as I say, don't worry, it's not dangerous to us, it just could cause outages and some stuff. You may remember last time though, when we had something like this, not this big, but we had it, we got the aurora which was visible all around Earth, so this could potentially happen again. So keep your eyes out, you're gonna be fine, but as always I will keep you updated.
I don't think you understand how rare your existence actually is, because you being alive right now is pretty much statistically impossible. To give you perspective, there's been over 100 billion people who ever lived on Earth, but this number is nothing compared to how many people could have ever lived. Because if you were to add up all the possible combinations of your DNA, the number would be so astronomically large you couldn't even read it. But somehow out of nearly infinite versions of your DNA, you were born. Not only that, even including thousands of years of all of your ancestors' actions and DNA which led to you existing. If they didn't meet that specific person, make a specific life choice, or even make the tiniest decision ever, you would never exist today, increasing the chances of you being born to an unfathomable number, making your life one of the rarest things in the entire universe.
Let's look at the photo. You say that's me? Okay, check out the name badge. It says Aldrin. Looks like you're right, but notice the helmet. Can you see my face? No. This is a secret I've been keeping for almost half a century. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong and I pulled off humanity's first extraterrestrial prank.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest. It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And
you know, I feel like if you went to the moon, this massive accomplishment for humanity, you'd be so proud of it. You'd own it, right? Like, yes, fuck yeah, that was me. I went to the moon. We did it. But you can just tell that he feels so bad now for the lie that they, perpetrated, for the deception that they purported. And he can't lie to this little girl because he has a heart. I get it. Don't you guys find it interesting that we haven't gone back to the moon since 1969? I wonder why.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
We destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. This is the technology that he's talking about. This is the painful process that is so difficult to build back again. What you're looking at right here, this absolute spectacle, this masterpiece just covered in tinfoil. Now, I know this is extremely difficult for a lot of people, but let's just use our common sense here. We went to the moon back when they didn't even have cell phones. Look at how far technology has advanced since then. You're telling me a $1 billion organization destroyed the technology for one of the greatest achievements in human history, apparently, and they can't build it back. Even though they had it in 1969, they can't build it back in 2025. Do you actually buy that? NASA is an anagram for Satan. That's why they say T minus, because it's minus the T. NASA in Hebrew, Nasha, also means to deceive. They're lying to you. They're stealing your tax money. They work for the devil.
Bro, it got so bad that even Kim Kardashian believes the moon landing is fake, bro.
People who the government ordered to silence. Dr. Sebi had a cure for all diseases and was found dead. In custody, Yoram Kaufman discovered water on Mars and was found deceased. Mark Smith found a cure for Alzheimer's and was found deceased in a hit and run. Stanley Meyer invented the first water-powered car and was one day found deceased. Martin Luther King challenged racial injustice, economic equality, and was assassinated. Aaron Swartz, known for fighting for free access to information, was found dead. Malcolm X, civil rights leader, was later assassinated.
I'm curious how Helen Keller was deaf and blind and still learned to speak and spell, or if her story is a myth after an illness left her deaf and blind. At 19 months old, Helen Keller grew into a frustrated and angry child, unable to communicate. Her teacher, Anne Sullivan, began by spelling words into Helen's hand, but Helen remained confused about what they meant. The breakthrough came at a water pump as Anne placed one of Helen's hands into the cool water. She spelled water into her other hand. In that moment, Helen understood that all things had names, and her desire to learn exploded, mastering over 100 words in just a few weeks. But Helen also wanted to speak with her mouth, so Annie invented another incredible method, having Helen place her hand with the thumb on the throat, the first finger on the lips, and the second on the nose. With this, Helen could feel the unique vibrations for every sound. The G in the throat, the P on the lips, and the nasal M and N sounds through the nose. The first word she learned to speak this way was it, and after just her 7th lesson, Helen was able to speak the powerful sentence, I am not
Dumb. No.
That's wild, but why did she have to say I am not dumb now? Like, she was never dumb. She was just disabled.
Go back to when this goat got thrown into a tiger enclosure for its mealtime, but was just so nonchalant about it that it actually became the tiger's friend. You see, back in 2015, Amur the Siberian tiger was just getting ready for yet another regular meal at the zoo in Russia. But although all of his goats were always terrified and would try running away, this goat named Timur actually didn't seem to care at all. As Amur approached, Timur just confidently and casually stood there like he didn't have a worry in the world. And since Amur was apparently either really impressed or just really thrown off by this, he simply decided to leave this goat alone, and from that moment on, they became friends. To the zookeeper's shock, Timur just began following Amur everywhere over the next few days, and the tiger actually let him. As news of this quickly went viral, the zoo's visitors soon tripled, and so many people began watching Amur's live feed that it actually crashed the website. Because they would eat, play, and even sleep together, the zoo also stopped feeding Amur goats and started using other meats instead. But as time went on, Timur eventually became so comfortable that he even started bullying Amur. He actually began pushing him around and even took over his den a few nights, forcing the tiger to sleep on the roof. And after a month of this, Amur apparently had enough, and when his friend finally stepped on his paw one day, that was the last straw, and he simply tossed the goat off a small hill. Since Timur was a little battered, the zookeepers decided not to return him to Amur's enclosure and only allowed them to keep hanging out in limited durations. And although Timur passed away from natural causes 3 years later, he's still a legend in Russia to this day.
Those aren't just any orcas. Those are the two most feared orcas in the entire ocean. Meet Port and Starboard. Over the last decade, these two have become famous for slaughtering just about every shark they run into. And that includes great whites. But it's not so much about killing the sharks, but rather how they're doing it. Basically, one of them will flip the shark over, which puts it into a state of paralysis. And then together, they surgically remove the liver of the shark and eat it. Nothing else, just the liver. It's kind of become their signature. Over 20 sharks have washed up on the coast of southern Africa missing just their liver. And that includes one incident where they took out 17 sharks in 24 hours. That is serial hunting. It's gotten so bad that shark sightings in this area have basically went to zero. And the crazy part is scientists don't even know why they're doing it. It could be because they understand the nutritional value in a shark's liver. Or it could be because they lost a family member to a shark and now they're seeking revenge. Moral of the story, sharks are big and bad until these two show up. Then that big and bad goes away. Either that or their liver. And as always, follow for more facts.
Bruh, I just love the fact that orcas don't actively hunt humans. That's just amazing to me.
I'm a rich Jew backed by a richer Jew.
He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it.
This is Kenneth Copeland, perhaps the scariest and richest pastor in the world.
Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
Known for his $300 million net worth, $7 million mansion, and his 3 private jets, with his very own airstrip behind his house, he's managed to become one of the wealthiest pastors America has ever seen. And I'm going to his church to find out why. The first thing I noticed was Kenneth Copeland's store, selling everything you could think of and the Bible, somewhere. But as the sermon began, I learned that a lot of this church's message was to basically claim blessings from God, and if you had enough faith, your life would be blessed. But only if you've contributed your tithes to help your favorite pastor Kenneth maintain his lavish lifestyle.
Dude, something about a pastor super wealthiness just doesn't sit right with me. Like, in my head, it's like, dude, I feel like I'm getting scammed because you're asking for donations, but yet you have $300 million that you use to buy a mansion with a private landing strip. But you want my hard-earned money? Okay, buddy.
It's official. Akon City, Africa's promised real-life Wakanda, has just been abandoned permanently. This is what it was supposed to look like next year, and this is what it looks like today. So what the hell went so wrong?
People sometimes will write articles about something like this could never happen in Africa. It's been 2 years, the construction hasn't started. I hear that all the time. We're building a city. You don't build a city in 24 hours.
Turns out, a city can't be built in 7 years either. Because rewind back to 2018, rapper Akon announced that he was going to build a $6 billion futuristic city on the Atlantic coast of Senegal, the country where he spent a lot of time growing up. And the plan was revolutionary. It would run on 100% sustainable energy, have cutting-edge smart city infrastructure. Its sole medium of exchange would be a cryptocurrency called A-coin. And most importantly, the city would serve as a symbol for what was actually possible for Africa's future. And Senegal themselves, they were hyped. They even asked the people that were currently living on that land to move, in exchange for a fee, of course, also a fee that still to this day they claim has never been paid. And that's where the first cracks in Akon City begin, because 3 years after its initial announcement, local residents started reporting that aside from a single ceremonial foundation stone, virtually no construction had begun. Now, Akon said it was the pandemic, and look, hey, 2020, it screwed the whole world over. But then came the scam allegations. In 2022, Akon's former business partner asked a New York judge to freeze Akon's assets, and also filed a $4 million lawsuit claiming that Akon City displayed many of the trademark characteristics of a Ponzi scheme and a pyramid scheme. However, despite this, Akon remained positive. He took the nearly $1 million settlement on the chin and kept insisting Akon City is 100,000% moving forward, and the critics are gonna look super stupid when it's built. But the years kept rolling around. By the end of 2023, The Guardian went to Akon City, and they found no more than a mere skeleton of one building and some cattle and goats grazing on its overgrown fields. No roads, no housing, solar farms, or towers like he had promised by the end of that year. Then 2024 rolled around, and even Senegal at this point was getting pissed. They gave Akon 2 weeks to begin meaningful construction, or they would start taking away the land. Problem is, crypto went into a bear market, and Akoin wasn't doing so well. In fact, today it is down 100%. And that was a big financial pillar, especially to repay investors. So that, coupled with the lack of progress and missed payments, was the final nail in the coffin. And unfortunately for the entire continent, he proved people right. Because this week they announced the Akon City project no longer exists, and Akon himself will instead work on something more realistic.
Dude, that is so disappointing. Imagine telling everybody that this is the future, this is gonna be crazy, Africa ain't never had nothing come to it before, and then once that opportunity presents itself, you can't follow up to those expectations. And I'm pretty sure Akon just recently got arrested for something. I forgot what it was, but I'm probably just gonna put it in a video because that's crazy.
Thank you all